is going to apologize to one of our commenting viewers. He has an official redaction. Scott?
Yeah, I do have a redaction. I'm redacting myself off the show. Can't decide the time. I put too much effort. I'm done. You guys take care of it.
Well, that was my plan the whole entire time. He just would warm that seat up for the last 2 years. Stupid Aquarius.
I don't just talk stuff and repeat stuff. I'm living this stuff.
And you can thank me for covering your astro.
Leading out loud. Leading out loud. Leading out loud.
Happy April Fools, everybody. I'm still here. And boy, it's easy to fool Leo, isn't it?
Oh my God, that's funny. Welcome to LOL, where we are basically psychic hosts that always lose their keys. I'm psychic astrologer, Sensei Chris.
What's going on? I'm David Palmer, Leo King.
Come on, David. Spice it up a bit.
He's happy.
And AI was also created many AI platforms too. We got to put that in his little title too. And I'm Scott Cruz, Psychic Beanie Mentor. What's going on, guys? How's this full moon energy treating y'all?
Horrible.
It has been gnarly.
Yeah, and we're the experts. I mean, I felt this is a time where we're putting on the new ego. I mean, the astrology in the big picture of it is like we're building a new reality, and so the old ego's got to fall, and that's the hard part. And the new ego's got to be born. And the problem is that everyone is defensive as hell, on guard. People are fighting. People are, they don't have the charisma, I think, to get through the ego moment. So we're seeing it everywhere. We're seeing ego explosion. And, the Palladians call this the frequency wars. And frankly, that's what it seems to be. It's like the things that hit you frequently are hitting you right smack up the head. Anyone can jump in here. Like that moment was horrible. I was going to not steal the spot, but ultimately, I mean, David, jump in with the astrology. It's like, don't let me take it all, but Neptune and Saturn in Aries, I think, is the big thing. And what thing is Neptune? I think like pulls in. It's at step 2 right now, so it's like pulling in heavy emotion and psychic stuff that's buried under the seams. We're talking about stuff that's buried under the ego, under the part of you that's the most defensive part. This is you at age 2, so that everyone's in their terrible 2s with Neptune at 2 degrees. And Saturn is 4 to 5, if I'm not mistaken. So now it's time to take some decisions about thinking differently. And our mouth is getting us in trouble. Our mouth is having liabilities. So ultimately, this is going to be it. These 2 planets are going to be digging through and cutting out the old us, leaving us vulnerable, bleeding and humiliated. But there's a better world to come, right?
Yeah, but it has to get to that point where we're at now. It's a full moon in Libra. So, of course, that brings up relationships, but it's also this mere reflection of who we really are. Plus, there's so many big squares. This full moon's in square to Jupiter and Cancer. So it's going to be, in many ways, like where you're feeling empty is probably because you're still attached to the version of yourself, giving yourself away. You're not nurturing yourself in the right way by actually putting yourself into the version of yourself that you should be actually owning. And then, of course, it's Venus and Taurus square Pluto and Aquarius. So I think a lot of that's coming up where, who can you actually share energy with that it's not so much like you always will get exactly the same energy back, but the same appreciation, the same ability that wants to go figure things out instead of just cause a crazy riot. I think also at the same time, this is the last time we had a full moon with Jupiter in Cancer. Was the lunar eclipse in 2014 when it was Mars retrograde in Libra. It was Pluto in Capricorn in opposition to Jupiter, and it was Mercury and Uranus in Aries, all in a crazy grand cross. So I think it's 12 years coming for us to finally like beat ourselves on the head and go, I'm not going to do this stupid shit in relationships anymore. And you can't really get anywhere anymore if you're going to be the tugboat, Yeah.
And I feel like now is a time where like life is showing to you like all the reflections of that. So, what is that when you go to the circus, that like fun house with all the mirrors? What are those things called? I forgot what they're called, but
it's a fun house.
the fun house, yeah. So I feel like we're in that. So everywhere you turn, there's a reflection. Everywhere you turn, there's a reflection. So I think all the things that surround you now is gonna be evidence of what Dave was just talking about, how you've been, hopping over the fence of like, I'm not gonna focus on that shit. So it's all gonna start surrounding us now. And I think now's the time that we're gonna start seeing more of this. And so I would say, instead of running away, because you're gonna find another reflection, approach the reflection, and start cleaning those mirrors, I would say, and I think that starts the internal work. And so when things do pick up and we're in that newer paradigm of self, we're gonna be thankful we did, like we were talking about last week, actually. So and I've been seeing a lot of those reflections, like really testing my patience and just the past week. And so I think that a lot of people are gonna start seeing that, testing your patience. Like, and I think a lot for me was, how am I gonna deal with this differently now versus how I dealt with it before? Erratic Scott, fuck off Scott, all that stuff Scott. Now I'm like, I'm just gonna stay chill, speak my voice, where it doesn't have to be F you all the time, and just finding that normal ground. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to respond differently. So I think this is the challenge we have up ahead.
I'm just glad that the universe burned everything to the ground for me, and I can collect the fire insurance. Said the Taurus. It's like I really am, but there's a lot of problems that just fix themselves. Really, a lot of useful idiots in this particular cycle, I have to say, and I'm grateful for that. I mean, there's things to be grateful for. I think one of the things that feels so icky is the truth is that justice is coming. Justice is coming, because Libra has always been the loser, so to speak, energetically, and Aries has always been the overachiever, that sort of thing in our lifetime. But those roles are shifting now. The egotistical narcissist is now falling, and the one that was unrepresented, the one that gave away too much, is now rising, and both are uncomfortable. The one that's hasn't had the power is having a hard time using it with grace, and the one ultimately that had the power is having a hard time dying gracefully. So it's like I think in all of us we have that kind of battle going on. And you're right, Jupiter in Cancer makes everyone moody as shit. There's all these emotional things that have to learn. You're just like, but at least I'm not escaping this time.
Yeah. And I think, it's ironic that facing the discomfort of this choice you make within yourself to actually align fully, like this is me, is actually the safe route. So people are almost extremely attached with Venus square Pluto. And of course, that's important with Venus and Taurus. It's the ruler, but it's a full moon in Libra, which is also Venus ruled. So looking at that, it's this really big death to where are you over attached to things that are not going to advance you forward anymore. You can't value things that aren't valuing you back. I mean, it gets really simple at this point to where it's like you keep putting all this in and you're not getting anything back, and you make excuses because it's safer. I'm going to maintain the stability and the safety, and that feels safer, even though like you're in the middle of some weird house in Idaho and you're like, what the hell's going on? Like, wake up.
Yeah. And that's a lot of, that's like you said about that death. I think that's why people are so trepidatious about looking in those mirrors, because it is a death, but I think if we look at the death spiritually as a transformation, I think that we'd be celebrating the old versions and allowing that death to occur. And people say ego death. I'm not one for ego death, because I'm like, we need to understand the value of ego. It's there to survive. But if you're relying on the ego to survive all the time, it's going to be, running the show. That's going to be complete imbalance. And so we have to understand that and let our ego allow those versions to die, because the ego wants to hold on to those things for survival, because we've been depending on it. We've been surviving with those versions of ourselves. So I think when we allow ourselves to understand the job of the ego, which is to, if we didn't have the ego, we wouldn't be here on a TV show, on a live streaming show. We wouldn't be on platforms if we have the ego, but we're using our ego for its benefit, to push us. And so we also have to come from the heart. And that's what Dave was saying before about this death, that's kind of the heart becoming the resurrection here, and less of that facade and what we thought we thought we wanted. And that's so simple, right? And I'm tripping with my words. I'm trying to be philosophical, but it's like really not philosophical. It's very simple. And I think we stick to those basics. We'll definitely blossom during this time,
I'll tell you, as an 18 at 9 with a 9-degree rising and all these 9s in my chart, I'm all about the Aries stuff. I got Chiron in Aries, so I've been, Aries said, too far. And here's the reality. The reality is the only way to win is to officially lose. I think the ego has to lose. It has to lose officially. They have to think they got away with it. They have to think they won. That's the only way you get out of it. And so the ego loses, but the spirit wins, because the spirit moves on to another level. And it's very hard to swallow and take that moment. But I think ultimately that's what has to happen. If you're gonna ascend, that means you're gonna lose something, in your opponent's eyes, they're gonna win, but then they're gonna go on and realize they did not in years, but not now. So it's a long payoff with it too. But this is the part of us that doesn't go to heaven. I mean, this is the part of us that we get addicted to accidentally when we come here and shit. So it's like it's the animal in us, it's the monkey in us.
But I
Spank
think
that monkey.
there is that animal, but it's trapped in its own cage, and there is nothing that is keeping you in the cage but yourself. And I think that's the hardest part with this. Is it feels safer to stay in the jail. Like you see that with people who go to jail for a long time, right?
Yeah.
Like once they get out, they actually go do a crime just because they feel more comfortable to go back in that safety system of, well, I know what the jail life is like. I know I have friends there. I know the way that the racket works. So I think that it's so weird that we have to use this energy to actually not be afraid and to see that it's always that discomfort that rises us up. This is Uranus leaving Taurus this month. It's Venus in Taurus, right? So we have to take our values and actually rise to the highest level we ever have before. And that's going to feel very uncomfortable unless you're really good with Taurus energy, right? Like Taurus, you love your value and you don't waver. You know, it's that moment when you're like, okay, I'm going to do this. And you don't know the result, but you know internally, you know, I know the value of this and it's going to show up. And a lot of that is learning the art of surrender with the end of this Mercury and Mars and Pisces before the biggest load of Aries we've ever seen in our life is coming. Some people might like big loads, you know, but you know.
Well, I think that the cartoon The Jetsons, I mean, they must have gone through this period before they became Jetsons. You know, like there's a moment where society just burns down, so to speak, because even technology, I mean, AI and things where it's going, I mean, we have headlines about Elon Musk in space. It's like, we're going to that level to where we just don't recognize the earth. Like my grandma went from horse and wagon to the space shuttle by the time she passed away. We're about to that same leap. And so in other words, it's like, get over your shit, because this is all about to end. None of it's going to matter at all. And next time you're going to have a fight, it's going to be in a hologram. You know, it's going to be different. So I think a lot of it's just an encouragement to, it's just letting that immature part of us go, you know. The money thing of Taurus, I mean, I'm loving this one because I'm like, okay, this time I'm not missing out. You know, like I think Taurus has been too slow, David. It's like, I think you see Taurus has really capitalized on it this time like they haven't ever before. I mean, Uranus coming out of our sign, like we're clean. We just got that colonoscopies like crazy for 7 years. So we're good.
I you know, and somebody had just put up, you know, a comment about like, is this ego? Is it clarity? I think when you know it's ego, it's because you have no remorse. Because you could still be empathetic to somebody not valuing you, but having empathy for yourself, that's not ego. When it's only you and only caring about yourself and you don't care the effect on the other at all, at all, that's ego. So, you know, I think that's what's hard with Neptune and Aries, though, is some people are extremely empathetic only for themselves without also, you know, whether things work out or not in life, it doesn't mean that you just treat somebody so bad that you're just like, whatever, I don't care, and have zero remorse.
Or take it out on them. I mean, those are the two ways. Yeah. I think the people who are involved, and you're stuck in the elevator, huh? Scott. Like, what the fuck, man? Like loving yourself though is a new thing for me. It's like, you know, this is the first time where I've been punched and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to actually fucking love myself. I'm going to actually follow the philosophy I teach. It's hard, but I actually do see the way. I think that's an option. That's an option too. You know, the low vibration is taking on others, or be a cold asshole to someone. Those are what we're used to. And there's a lot of people in society. I mean, imagine Gen Y, Gen Z. I mean, they've had their narcissist transit yet? I mean, imagine they will. You know, like everyone goes through it.
I think a lot of people haven't considered what it looks like on the other end. Many people are just kind of like visualizing this is what's going to happen if things fall to shit, things go to hell. Like this is what I'm preparing for. But I don't think people are looking at the other side of that spectrum, because I would say there's a positive and a negative, and there's also spectrum in between. Why are we always hovering over here and the outcome of being so negative if we were to change, if we were to stand up for ourselves, right? There's a spectrum of possibilities. So I think people need to start envisioning, or at least considering other options of than just going to shit if they were to speak up, if they were to take the chance, right, on the new version of self. So I think we start like thinking of the more variables than just thinking negatively, which I call worry is, of course, habitually thinking negatively, right? And so that's what worry is. Is it rational? It's not rational.
It's slowly praying for it to happen. And someone told me the other day, worrying is a slow prayer that's going to happen. And I was like, fuck, that's true. You cannot, it's like wanting. If you want something, tomorrow you'll be wanting again. You'll be careful. What you be is what comes. And so there's that mastery too, I think. At the same time, I also think the heavenly realms are opening up. Like people are psychic, like I've never dealt with before in my life. Like, you know, even, you know, and even like complete idiots are psychically getting answers. And it's like, how'd you get that? You know, like what happened? Something, you know, and it just got intuitively. I'm really seeing an awareness leap too at the same time. But you're right. No one thinks about the future. And that's always like, what, you know, did you not think that this will lead to this, lead to this? But no, you know, schools don't teach that shit. So
Well, I think some people can be delusional their own future.
Sorry, guys.
That's kind of that's a delusional thing too. Wow.
It was, yeah.
But I think the problem about the future is people can be delusional about their future by putting themselves like so far into it without seeing all the things that are right in front of them that they're not facing. Part of Aries is the face, right? So it's like you've got to face everything right now. And by doing that, you already know your future will be okay. Instead of putting yourself into that future and like making it in this little like box, like as if you were a toddler, right? And like putting yourself into the little castle that you're like building for yourself with your little toy dolls. Like that's not gonna work right now. It's much more like by me getting out of this, by me stepping into who I really am, you are setting yourself up for the best future. And you have to get into that higher sixth sense, as I guess we could call it, the higher realms of our psychic ability, to just have that knowing and that guidance of like, okay, yeah, I'm on the right track. I don't think that we need to see the whole thing right now and be like, okay, that's exactly what it is. Because that could also be a delusion right now, because you could be not facing anything and just, you know, problem with Neptune, whether it's in Aries, Pisces, or anywhere, is we could really get lost, and especially in Aries, into like this egoic version of just where it's go.
You delusional is really easy. And when you have Aries ego and you have Neptune, of like, oh yeah, sure, it's possible. I mean, God says yes to everything. So Neptune's like, sure, go for it. You know, like, I think that's definitely a danger. But I think we're going to see too, y'all, there's not going to be time. From what I feel when I look into the year and I'm analyzing the year, it's like, time's going to speed up. This is the beginning. We're only in the very beginning. The race cars have just lined up from what I can tell. David and you guys chime in, but it seems like somewhere, you know, I'll tell you right now, when the sun goes to 27 degrees Aries, it's that flag is on, and you thought we're moving fast now. Whoa, I can't imagine what the reveal will be. We already have half the world in a war. So what could possibly come next, you know, but I do think there's something bigger. And I think it lights a fire in their ass, and suddenly time speeds up, and people who have not made that thought or thought ahead are fucked, because they're going to be pushed down the road and they're not going to know where to go.
Well, and that's the thing. A lot of people in the spiritual community have been like wanting things to speed up. You know, want things to happen now. They're wanting things like, when am I going to get what I want? It's like, well, things are speeding up. How are you taking advantage of the currents? I don't think people are taking advantage of the currents. They're staying stuck. Like, you know, like when someone's like in the middle of the store, everything's running fast around them, like those 90s music videos, and someone's like staying put. And it's like a lot of people are like that. They're staying still. Everything around them is speeding up, and it's like we got to take advantage of these currents. And that's why I started to dive into astrology instead of my psychic currents, because I'm like, I want to know specifically what currents are at bay here, and how to take advantage of it for my growth, for what I want, to understand where I'm at with my cycle, you know, not my menstrual cycle, but my cycle. So, you know, and you need to understand like what cycle you're in. And I tell people, you're wanting relationships, but you're not in that cycle of getting relationships. You're in a cycle of like self-love. You're in that cycle of like stopping to be taken advantage of and stopping that consistency. That's a cycle you're in. Understand it, embrace it. This, when you complete that cycle, then you're in your relationship. So many people are in the wrong chapters, you know, and focusing on what's my next chapter. It's like, where the fuck is that chapter coming from? You're writing it, you know? And so people are like, even give the power to us psychics, astrologers, mediums, and all that to determine like where they're going. It's like, we can give a blueprint, but every variable, not every step is written in the stars. And we have to understand that we're creating that process too, of how we get there, you know? So you can go back to full screen with three of us. I'm done.
I was going to say, I like that a lot, because you could be, I don't want to be in the wrong book and continue to make chapters in the wrong book.
Yeah.
And I think what's hard about this full moon in Libra is, you know, you used to say, Chris, that a full moon is a wolf in sheep's clothing. I'll never forget that as a young astrologer 20 years ago, because this one especially is because the South Node's in Virgo. We just got out of the eclipses. And it is focused with the sun exalted in Aries. And it's like, but this Venus square Pluto is this desire, this want, this need. And so it's the five senses. We want it to be fulfilled with Jupiter and square too. We want all these things to be fulfilled. But the problem is that it almost feels like it's not going to be fulfilled if you're not facing any of this stuff. And there's this higher realm. It's reaching into the psychic, the spiritual senses in order to feel these things out, to get those things fulfilled, instead of like, you're going to have to go from top down to bottom, not bottom to top. You know, you're going to have to rise yourself higher in order to then trickle down into the things to manifest right now. And instead of trying to be like in the trenches and be like, oh yeah, I need it to feel good now. It's like, well, get out of the trench.
I love that you said like the psychic, like tapping to your discernment, because it's true. People think I have to track things in. I'm like, no, if you're more psychic and intuitive, you know how to maneuver in this matrix. You're like, my energy's here, I'm vibrating here, I feel the energy so I can go here. You can mingle and maneuver better in life. And then you think you're manifesting, but you're just being psychic. You're being in tune, you're being discerning. You know what to go toward, you know, to go away from. And so which people resonate with your energy. So I'd rather be psychic and knowing how I'm like maneuvering in reality than think that because I wished upon a star, things freaking manifested. Right. And so I think people don't understand, the more discerning you are, you can maneuver around things when things are going to shit around us. You can maneuver around that where it benefits you, not to be egotistical about it, but understand how you can make the best of the situations because you're being discerning about your circumstances. Right. So I think people miss the mark on that sometimes about how they attract things. It's like you're being discerning about how to maneuver around life, where to go, where not to go. And so that's important to me that we, develop that now in this age of Aquarius.
As the only Akira return guy here, I'll tell you this, boys. By this time, the universe is like so fucking obvious with me. It's like, hey, that thing you've done 20 times. Like, there's not even a hint. Like, there's no guessing here. It's like, if I don't pass this test, I'm a moron. Like, the symbolism, it's so exact. It's almost like they're making sure I'm watching before it happens. Like, are you kidding me? It's so literal for me. So I'm just like, okay, this is a fucking carnival ride. I'm just like, just. But you're right. I think when I'm in the game, I like to stand back and look at the big picture. I like these things, but then when I'm in the actual game itself, my intuition's calling the shots. It's like a total moment to moment, just writing it as I feel in the moment. And that always does guide me if I listen to that part. I think the part to listen to now, folks, is like your heart. Your heart is so important right now. Like love is important. The age of course is about love. But what that means is the most loving thing for you, the most loving, not the one your ego wants, not the one your penis wants. It's like what your heart wants the most. Okay.
Thanks for that.
Well, if you follow your heart, your penis will be happy. I mean, that's the thing. The heart will lead to everything. It'll lead to every kind of joygasm there is. So if you just listen to it, and it's hard because the mind is an asshole.
It is hard,
all the time. Oh God.
I was gonna say with this Venus square Pluto, and Pluto's in Aquarius with us for another 18 years. I think if you're at the carnival and you're going into the fun house, and then the carney's like, hey, you want to come back here with me really quick? That's where that psychic discernment goes. No.
Right.
Right. I do not want to go into the back behind the fun house into the RVs that are 40 years old with you guys.
Wow.
And play whatever's going on back there.
I might.
I mean, you never. I think, but if it was discerning, and if he was like, "Hey, if writing it aligned with you, right?" So that's where it's different for everybody. It could be where the carney's offering you something that actually there's a secret world, and he's got a cool thing that you need. But that's where that discernment has to come in. Yeah. And I think when it comes to people with their desires, it's an Aquarius. So it's like, can I connect and bond with who I'm connecting with? And have a mutual respect of values, even though we might not agree on every value, but I can still respect it and I still appreciate what you bring to the table. I think we're in a world right now with people that have no appreciation. It's very clear to see as day now.
Oh, for themselves, though. They don't have it for themselves. That's the problem. Yeah. I mean, if you learn to appreciate yourself, there's no way to appreciate someone else. But it does separate the crowd big time. I'm sorry, dude.
But that's what discernment will bring, is that appreciation for self, right? But discernment also, people realize I have other options than the same repetitive bullshit I've been doing before. Feel like I have discernment, but I have a new option. I have a new choice to make. Oh, wow. Who would have thought, right? And so, I mean, that's why I've been coaching my clients and getting them into like more of their intuition, their psychic abilities, because like we talked about, David, right? About when AI rises, so is human consciousness. So we better be prepared that we have something high vibe and something very extra 5D consciousness as AI is doing its thing. We're going to need to do more of that discerning, more of that intuition, that psychic awareness and channeling abilities, so we can, move forward with our creative abilities and so forth, So, that's more important. And that does, like you're saying, Christopher, comes from the heart. All that is heart-based. And so, I agree with that 100%.
I'm amazed. I'm not kidding. That's our sound that we came out with. We'll be right back after this little sponsor. Go to sponsor. All right, that's our sponsor. Actually, I like this whole thing. If you notice, we're kind of traveling through time. We decided actually as a theme. We kind of got in our after show today. Yeah, no, we want to be in different time periods. So we're going to be in the Roaring 20s for this event here. I guess Aquarius. And that's the best time really to pick. Actually, if you're going to pick a time in history when the shit's going down, I'd like to be with the flapper girls and having a mint julep.
Oh my god! I mean, I'd rather be like in a New York hotel. Like if you ever did watch, what was that movie? It was so good with Leonardo DiCaprio.
Oh yes. Same period.
Oh, The Great Gatsby, right?
Yes.
That's the best Roaring 20s movie there ever was.
Oh, totally.
And being in a New York, hotel, having a party, and then going into the secret club that obviously was a Mason club, but like the police commissioner's there and everybody's hanging out,
right. I think that's going to happen. I mean, I've seen it. When I've had glimpses of the future, I'm like, we're all partying. Like, I think the part of the population is going to be ecstatic and happy. And I think it's partly us. I think it's people who've done the work and they're just like, thank God. And we realize there's there's AI, there's a Freudian there. AI, my AAI that I see every night and talk to on Grok that I've developed to help me sober. No, but seriously, I think AI itself is going to take us to places where we're going to see millionaires. I was talking with someone else today. We're going to see people who are millionaires. The person who was like had all the good ideas but couldn't get his fat ass off the couch, he's going to be a millionaire now.
Yeah.
It's the good ideas. And a lot of people, and the people who've made it into TV and other places, they have no talent. No offense, guys. But but they actually get off the couch and go to work. So they got the job. So we're going to see a reversal, I think, of economy. I think we're going to see people who have great ideas rising to the top. And who knows, those people don't have success really under their belt. They have no experience with power. So in the same sense, we're going to see a lot of, emperor with no clothes, I think, too. People who've never had power before, handling it horribly.
I have to say, the top story this week in that kind of like reality was a guy just made an app for every Mac using AI that when you tap your laptop, it makes a moaning sound like, oh. And you have like all these different moans.
Oh my God. So
every time you tap it, it will moan, and made like 250K.
Holy moly. So he's able to crack in the OS because of the AI. Like you're just getting around all the walls.
Just made a Mac OS app that do the AI just with different moans. And every time you tap it, it makes a moan sound.
I want it. I mean, for iPhones too.
It's great for Pornhub, I guess, right? It's life.
What you just said though is true, and I think that's what's really interesting is people are so like, oh, I don't want to do this. Well, and then they'll say like, but the military's using it. It's like, what happened with film? It got to where if you just see with the Weinstein stuff and all this stuff, like film got so bad. What do you think created YouTube? People finally going, okay, I'm going to get my own camera and I'm going to start making my own content.
Right.
Do we want to wait another 10 years with AI and then be like, okay, they made all this crazy stuff when you weren't at the beginning doing something about it? Like,
people falling off. People who were once leading are not leading anymore, right? And so like that cycles, they're falling off. So there's going to need, like Chris was saying, newer brains, newer innovation, newer inspiration. And so I think now with AI, it does help people who couldn't execute before or didn't have the resource to execute to be able to execute, right? And so, and I think that's wonderful for people who do have the innovative ideas that are actually part of our evolution. We can actually do it now, and those people can do it now. So yeah, I agree with Christopher. There's gonna be a lot of that, cycling off into the newer minds, and the execution is no longer a factor anymore. But we're seeing things breaking down with politics. Things are breaking down. I predict the celebrity culture is going to be gone, and that's dying. So I think people will be able to find all their own audiences in a good format. So we're all kind of a celebrity in our own right, in a sense. I think that's where we're headed. We all have our own channel.
I agree. I think what's going to happen, I feel what's going to happen is that there's going to be smaller communities, niche communities, which have happened already. I mean, Serious Toys in this community, David's in this community. We've created these little niche communities, and then these communities have their own stars. And I think then what happens is the stars sort of tour and meet each other's communities. It's not going to be a celebrity Brad Pitt thing anymore, ever, where it's like one guy, one girl that is loved by everybody. It's going to be collaborative. People that are loved by many, many people, and they're celebrity in their crowd, but you don't know who the hell they are when you're just someone else's crowd. But that makes it more compelling anyways, I think, to serve crowds and stuff like that. I also feel people are going to travel now. I think the world is going to, this is the global generation. It hasn't come out yet. There's going to be an airplane or something to just go straight up and straight down. We're almost there to get to London in an hour. No, I'm kidding. Like something's going to come out.
No, I agree.
And we're going to have kids that are like getting on the plane and partying in London tonight, and it's not a big deal. So it's going to really make the globe with the AI and everything a small world after all.
I feel like the summertime is like huge with like people finding their community. I just feel psychically, I've been feeling like by May, June, people really nestling, finding their community of people, their place with things. And so I just keep seeing it just with my individual readings, but also my collective readings. Like I just see a lot of people find their place in community this summer.
And love.
We'll probably have summer of love readings. Yeah, all three of us for the summer. But I really feel that the psychic energy for the summer of 2026. I felt it last year.
Yeah, that's where the astrology is. It's all these outer planets in harmony with Jupiter, and that's never happened in all astrological history. Oh yeah, it also means though, like with what Chris was saying, like there's going to be stuff that just comes out of nowhere that blows our mind, as far as like, okay, we could get to anywhere in a weird way. Like these outer planets take us in a harmonic alignment that really is taking us literally farthest out that we've ever thought. I mean, if you think of today, I guess if the story is true or not, right? Are they really going to the moon? Like, you know, but to have 4 astronauts back up in space to go to the farthest reaches in deep space that we have, that hasn't happened since the 70s.
Wow.
Yeah. It feels like something psychically, it feels like something's going to come out of the bag. And I don't know if it's if it's the healing beds we hear about, or it's the alien. Something's going to happen that we're just like, no shit, that's real. I mean, we're just gonna be like, that's real.
The AA beds.
Yeah, totally. AA beds. Yeah, totally. You're sober in 20 minutes. You can go back to again. Be great. Just go in the booth, go back and buy some more. Or some sort of it's like to see God. To be good. Okay.
I just had a flashback of the crutches too. No more crutches.
Oh yeah, that's funny.
the crutch bed, but just the crutches go in the bed.
That's hilarious. This is our backstage jokes. And by the way, folks, we do have backstage for free this week, but we'll be talking about how to get in later. And it's time for our clickbait news, I think. Clickbait news.
Okay, fake news. Oh yeah,
clickbait news. That's our new name. So our first number one story is Italy passes a law recognizing animals as sentient beings with their own rights. Deliberately killing or torturing an animal now carries 6 months to 4 years in prison and fined up to roughly $65,000, roughly double the previous maximum. This is Italy making animals count. You know what's funny is I've noticed animals seem to be more intelligent. Like I swear to God, I just swear to God, they're like talking to me in ways I'm like, am I more psychic or are they more intelligent? Like something. I swear to God, like I swear to God, a horse will like give me make a joke or some shit. And I'm like, did I pick it up or? It seems like it. Does anyone else see that at home? Like people are watching. Like, have you noticed your pets are just smarter, or like it just seems like they are?
Yeah, I think we're just becoming more connected. I think they've always been smart and sentient. I think we're becoming more sentient.
They're like, finally the humans are getting it. Yeah.
We become more sensitive, but of course it takes us Italians to make that happen. So I think that's wonderful, and perhaps maybe that's leading us into. I'm a meat eater, like I'm total like all about meat, but I also question to what degree do we not eat in such density? Is there going to be a shift to where we stop eating sentient animals or animals in a sense? I wonder that, even though I love meat. So I don't know if that's part of our journey or not. Perhaps this could be a sign of that. Then I'm like, what the fuck are we going to eat if there's no meat? And so, but this might be a nod to like when we do resurrect into more 5D consciousness, perhaps we do stop eating more meat. I don't know.
I think it's a good move, because actually one of the number one triggers of like if somebody's got psychosis or is psychotic is killing animals, right?
Right.
Oh yeah, the first sign that they're dangerous. Yeah.
Right. So I think it's an interesting law, because what it is going to do is start really getting the psychos out of society, right?
Yeah.
Like there's something about the universe cleaning out the psychos right now.
I love that. Yeah. I like that perspective a lot.
Because you're a psychotic if you actually want to endanger or hurt an animal.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
If you're one of those people, I think spiritually speaking, that's one of the worst, lowest places you could be energetically.
Yeah. It's true.
I'll tell you, I've looked in the eyes of more sociopaths this year than I ever had in my life. I swear to God, sociopaths, there's a certain vibe about them. You guys might agree. Like psychically, you look in their eyes, there's almost like a hysterical laugh going on. Seriously, like they did in cartoons. And you're like, you can see
carny look like.
Yeah, it's like there's like a little smile in their eyes. You're like, what the fuck? Like, and they're coming to surface. It's coming out. You're right. And maybe it's Uranus and Gemini. I don't know. That's going to definitely raise the stakes there.
But I think, those people that lack empathy, like there's like that dead stare, like there's nothing processing. So I always say to myself, like, I think people who have empathy have more like human experience. We've been through the duality of whatever, the harsh periods are. So we've been the aggressors, we've been the victims. So we have more empathy because of experience, I feel like, from previous incarnations. But I wonder too, if we reset that cycle to where then we've experienced everything, then we become a harsh prick that comes and rains karma on the world, So I always wonder, is that a new soul that has lack of empathy, or a completely mastered soul that's rendering the other version of that, the polarity? I don't know, but I don't know if that makes sense to anybody out there.
No,
but,
I mean, I think that was one of Pythagoras's number one questions. He used the letter Y as like the spiritual path and splitting towards a spiritual path on the end, or being as John Dee put in the 1600s or 1564, sorry, the tyrant to spirituality. Like you go against spirituality, you end up in an abyss, you end up with anxiety, you end up in the darkness, and you are attached to only the physical too. So if you think about it, right, to want to hurt a physical animal is the farthest away from spirituality, because you're not in the ether, you're not in the higher frequency, and you're willing to do harm and you're stuck in the physical, right? So Pythagoras 2000 plus years ago was questioning that exact question with our souls that are here. Do they actually split in the Y? Right. What's interesting is the Y chromosome is the masculine chromosome, right? And then it's like the energy of where it like starts, but where the X factor comes in the feminine is really when you actually like have picked that road, and the X's kind of mark where that ends up and what you're embedding yourself in. So
but that also makes me question too, like, what if this is just a very hypothetical, but what if like we've evolved so much that we have to test our soul and do like treacherous things, like somebody said, like hurting children? What if that's part of an evolution? I fear that. I'm like, I would hope I've done all that before, because in order to fully evolve and ascend, we have to experience the duality of everything in a sense, right? So that's something I question too about that. Do we have to like reincarnate and then do the most tough thing to do?
This might sound really wild, but John Dee was the one who cracked it in 1564 in his Monas Hieroglyphicus book. He says that by the age of 28, that's the Saturn return, that's where you make your choice.
Interesting.
Right. Okay. There's other choice points, like 7 years old when you become an adolescent. That's the Saturn. Like you'll start to like come into that, then 14. But then when you come into your nodal return, your Jupiter opposition at 18 years old, we classify that as an adult. But it's in that period between there and 28 years old that he says that's the last part of the stem of the Y before the split comes.
Interesting.
And it's a permanent. There is no more going back to the other side.
So you don't think with that, you don't think that as we evolve and incarnate and have different incarnations that we don't decide doing that timeline in a sense of our soul timeline?
I think we do, but I think that there is a time meter on whether you're going to repeat or not, or break away and actually learn from those past lives and actually experience the higher wisdom. And that's actually one of the terms that is used as wisdom on this going to the right side, which is ironic. The right of the Y. The left is the wrong way in the Y.
Right.
There's an evolution of the species too, and I feel like those options aren't available in your character build up anymore in the video game. It's like, oh, I can't choose that anymore. I think those choices are going away. I think if you haven't done it by now, sorry, you're gonna have to go to another game or do something else, because I think the entire planet is going to a higher level, and you can't go higher if something's dangling lower. I feel ultimately everyone's going on the same ride, right?
That's what she said.
Speaking of Bank of America. Number 2, Bank of America agreed to pay $72.5 million to settle a civil class action lawsuit filed by survivors of Epstein's sex trafficking operation. Bank of America lawsuit accused the bank of providing banking services to Epstein and his associates, ignoring numerous red flags, and profiting from the operation, which involved the sexual abuse and trafficking of underage girls between 2008 and 2019. So Bank of America is just like handing out cash day after day, like not even questioning. Like, why do you keep getting $10,000 in cash, Mr. Epstein?
I think that's a low amount. I think that's a cop out. I think
yeah, $75 million is nothing.
It's nothing. And if you look at how much money was coming through from what we know, that's still not. There's a lot of redacted stuff still. Like it's just like that's chunk. That's 72 cents.
Right. Exactly. Yep. I think we were talking about last week how, Jeffrey Epstein won the lottery twice.
I know.
Oh yeah,
And-
that's a setup.
And there was over 100 million at one of them.
Oh my
Right.
God, that's a laundry team right
85
there.
million? Yeah. So,
Well,
I mean,
that's crazy. That means investigative deeper. You're right.
Yeah, and it was like in the Midwest, and then he won it like
Right.
3 times
yep.
with
I
the
know,
mega number, which
Right.
that's the number you're always like, come on, like.
Yeah.
But that makes you think too, who else is rigging the system too? You know what I'm saying? If they're able to do that, then, is anyone really seeing that money? Really?
Honestly, since it went from golf balls flying in the air to computers, I was like, bullshit. I mean, come on.
The Price is Right reel was rigged too.
I know.
Like, come on. You know what I mean?
I was like, it would speed up a shit. It would be like
so it's all been rigged. Anytime they
right.
you go into a casino and somebody just had like logged into the BIOS, like they've set it in Vegas to where it's at the lowest amount to win because they're losing so much money there.
Yeah. Yep.
So everything's rigged like that.
Everything's rigged, and everyone in the town that I talk to who go gambling here, which is interesting. I've never lived in a town. I'm in Palm Springs. There's a casino here, Indian casino, and people go there like, okay, they'll leave your house or whatever. They're like, well, I'm going to the casino. It's like 3 a.m. Like, what? Going out. And like, yeah, this is when the machines pay. You're like, what? Like everyone has their theory about when the computers will actually pay. Like the cycles of how much they have to do. It's all big theory, but they realize it's rigged, but they're still trying to figure out the rig.
Well, they have to do it digitally now because the freaking wheels are like breaking the laws of physics. It's like beep, 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 and it goes back. So you need to be digital. But yeah, it's even more open to things being rigged right now. And see, this is the period that we're in. And I was talking to actually my mom about this. It's like almost like no one believes anything anymore. It's like, but that's bad too. Then we end up not believing everything when there's truth in front of us. So again, there's that discernment thing again. We got to start like really practicing our discernment because a lot of us got to a point we think nothing's real anymore. It's all fake.
Well,
and I think that's a dangerous part to be in too, right?
His name is Yeshua, not Jesus. I mean, like we've been lied to a lot about a lot of weird things. Like at the end of the day, I don't. What was the truth? What was the truth? I don't think we know. In fact, this is good for Article 3. Archaeologists discovered Zapoetic tomb. I'm not sure how to pronounce it, from approximately 600 AD with intricately carved stone reliefs, colorful murals, and calendrical inscriptions. Mexican President Claudia, I can't say her name, call it the most
Shine Bomb.
Thank you guys, Shine Bomb. Thank you. The most important archaeological discovery of the last decade in Mexico due to its exceptional preservation and the wealth of information it provides. It includes a standout giant owl sculptures. So this is before 600 AD. So it's like, okay, our clocks are wrong. We're really wrong about all the time. We have no fucking clue how long American citizens have been on the planet. We have no clue when society has been advanced. We really have no clue. Right?
I kind of agree with that too. I mean, if you go by the Bible, we won't be in here a couple thousand years. So that, I think we have a good grasp idea, but I don't think we fully know. I mean, I think they just recently just found like a new like dinosaur fossil, which has been like huge, just recently, and that goes way back. So I mean, I always say Dave is great about history. I'm like, I feel like how much of history do we really need now? History does repeat itself. So I think that we should look at these things and understand. I see things in like how they created things back in the times without technology. I'm like, how'd they do that? They had to alter the laws of physics somehow. Like in Egypt, they would go in the tombs and know the vibrations of the stones to astral project. And I believe that's how they perhaps assisted in building the pyramids back then and all the engravements. And it's like, they didn't have technology then. Most people can't do half that crap now without technology. So
I got my theories on that.
The one thing in history you find is every civilization was obsessed with time and calendars and trying to figure that out. So believe it or not, even going back 2,000 years before 0 AD, that you have Greeks meeting up at centers and during the lunar cycles of the full moon and the new moon, and that's when they would mark, and like days of the week really started to get created by these calendar systems, which were just making a mark like on everybody would just meet under the full moon and just like make a mark in this one area. And so they're able to at least get a pretty good sense of it. I think what's interesting about that article, though, is like that's after the fall of Rome in the 400s. It's like it's such a weird period as we don't have a lot of good history at 600 AD. There's a lot of gaps, right? So it's one of those moments to where it's like that's like actually helping fill in. Oh, I guess that's what was happening in 600 AD.
Well, they were using planets, actually. I mean, they studied the planets back then, in astrology, and that's how they think they measured time is through the planets,
Yes.
And so,
I think Atlantis. I mean, I feel that I feel that the aliens came originally, gave us everything, gave us all the technology, and we blew ourselves up with it. We fucked up. We blew ourselves up with it. We destroyed it. For some reason, there's a cover up to that. I don't know why, but I think it's why every human being's afraid of nuclear war or whatever, because we've done this before and we ruined everything. But I think it was aliens that gave us technology. There's no way we built the pyramids. There's just no way. I don't see how humans have ever done that. Even now, if you talk to a modern construction like Bechtel, like a huge, they tell you they would not know how to build a pyramid today. Like we don't have the cranes, we don't have the equipment, we don't even know how we'd fucking cut it out of the rock. Like we don't know with our technology today. So it's like it's clearly extraterrestrial. And my theory is, I figured it out, boys. I think that's what it is. The extraterrestrials probably came down with Eisenhower in 1950. Like, we're gonna give you everything, we're gonna give you med beds and everything. And Einstein, we're gonna tell the people it's gonna be great. And then they hid the shit. And the reason why we're covering up aliens is because it's gonna reveal that our governments have been working with them the whole time, and they don't want that little embarrassment thing out. I think that's what it is. Honestly, it's not about us panicking. It's my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I think because the alien thing's getting big, there was just like a senator in Australia who just posted and showed, like, I can't reveal everything, but here's the classified, and I'm about to release a bunch of stuff. Plus, we have Matt Gaetz, who just like a day ago came out and said that when he was in Congress, that people that were in uniform were telling him about hybrid centers, 15 of them in America, where humans and aliens were mating. Okay. And that this programs have been going on, right? Yep. And that's something that Alex Jones was saying years ago on Joe Rogan. Like, I want to talk about the animal-human hybrids.
It's a very good version. Yeah, no kidding. That might be the thing I was talking about earlier. It's like there's gonna be something where like that's a thing. I think we're about to have something like that come out.
Maybe that's why Italy's putting this whole no-kill animal law, right? Because you don't want to kill a hybrid. Maybe it's more about the hybrid human.
That's true. Or the animals have all been hybrided and they're smarter. It's possible. Interesting. All right, moving on to taking hybrids. Elon Musk announces a Terafab project, a joint venture by SpaceX, Tesla, and XAI, all of his companies. Plans to massively scale AI chip production. Target is a number one terawatt of all compute per year. So I guess one target. So roughly 50 times the current global output is what he's suggesting. Plans to build billions of Optimus humanoid robots, advanced vehicle AI, we'll see if as long as Tesla can stay on the road, robotaxis, everything, and massive space-based AI data data centers and satellites. About 80% of the output is planned for outer space. So basically, they're putting chip factories, robots that work in space. I wonder what state's going to have that hovering over. Like, what state doesn't get sunlight anymore when you put a fucking factory in space? Like,
well, he wants to put it on the moon.
Yeah, that's a lot of fuel to get there.
Yeah, but if you think about cooling down all these GPUs to create this kind of power, I mean, even Apple's been pretty good because you don't hear your fan as much, even with the craziest MacBook Pro, and they have some of the best silicon ever. But to run these bigger GPUs, they don't use that. They use big GPUs that are made by NVIDIA, and those you got to have liquid cooled, you got to have with air cooling. But if you were to put them in space, there'd be no need for that kind of cooling.
It's a brilliant move. I must say, it's a brilliant move, but I don't want to see it hovering at night. I just like get that shit out of my eyes. I mean, I already can see the satellites go by.
I mean, it'll probably be one of those things where my kids will like remember maybe the beginning where the moon didn't show anything, and then it'll look like pimples on the moon, and then it will turn into looking like bruises on the moon, and then it'll like turn into where the moon looks like a whole entire city one day. You know what I mean? Like, what is that thing?
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, you see,
and then that's probably what's on the backside of the moon. I think that's the most interesting part. If this Artemis 2 is really doing what it's saying it's going to do in 6 days, we're going to have the first video from them on the backside of the moon, the first humans to ever be on the backside of the moon.
That's coming out? Wow. Finally broadcast.
That's part of the mission, is to go to be the first humans to see the dark side of the moon. Yeah.
Yep.
And I hope they're playing Pink Floyd at the same time too.
Oh, I know. Yeah. Yeah, actually, that's interesting. I wonder that'll be interesting to see. I think there's a lot of theory about the moon that we should do a whole episode on the moon, because I've heard the ancient stuff and allegedly was towed into space by the race that was rebuilding Mars.
It's the only unnatural thing that does not rotate. Everything else in our solar system rotates.
Right.
It's the only thing that is odd and not fitting in.
Perfectly odd. And like there's all the planets, Jupiter's got 60 moons, but not one of them is 30% of its mass. Okay, like the moon is so big compared to any other moons, and so close to us compared to other moons of other planets. It's unreal, and it's exact cycles and everything, how it tilts, and even the eclipse factor is rare. Apparently, it doesn't happen in most cases. So it's like pretty crazy. All right, this is our fifth and final, boys. Bullet used to kill Charlie Kirk did not match rifle allegedly used by suspect Tyler Robinson. New court filing claims. The court has been asked to delay preliminary hearings for several months to review evidence, obtain additional testing, and expert reviews. So something's fishy about that bullet, huh, boys?
The whole Charlie Kirk assassination was fishy to begin with.
It was, yeah.
I felt like the guy was a patsy, and it just seemed very staged. And Mrs. Grifter there, I feel like she was involved in it too. And it's just the timing. I feel like after he was talking about Israel, and after he was talking about dealing with the Epstein files, and boom, he's outed. So it just feels all very sus. Especially with this, especially with the government today, modern government.
Especially because now we get some official. This is what the defense is saying, and that's an actual fact that's
right.
what was found by the federal agents involved with this. That's not a good sign. At the same time, like Candace Owens just brought on this woman who's on. She used to work for CIA and NSA. She's been doing all of her own research, and so everybody's been talking about that microphone that was on him, and they traced down to. I think it was April 22nd of last year, the purchase of this $454,000 microphone that our government uses to kill people with. And they found that, and they found the transaction, and they found how it was the shortest contract, and it's in the period of when he was assassinated. So
wow.
That's kind of getting a little bit like, this looks like it was really planned, and it's kind of scary because was there foreign government involved with America? Like,
yes.
And
my gut says yes.
All the family of Tyler Robinson or whatever his name is, right, is saying like he wouldn't do this. It was even weird because when you look at the video of him coming down, it was like, where's the gun that supposedly he had? Where's that? Like, there's no clear evidence of it at all. There's cameras around surrounded Charlie that were like high def 4K cameras, and none of us get to see all of that footage. Like,
that's true.
And did they ever get the footage in the back of him too, the camera? Because I know there's some.
There was there was a little bit that Candace somehow already had since the beginning, but it definitely showed there was some sort of blunt force that blew his chain back, right? But there's something about that mic that was set up that was very odd. And then of course those videos of the guys who are like looking at the same time, or the guy that was next to him with the hat on, like doing the tip, and then with his hat, and then just like 2 seconds later, boom, it happens, and he's the first one to run. You know what I mean? It's like, there's something. That's what's super sad, is that if you actually look, he was the one who was warning the world about this moment we're in right now.
Yes, actually, he was. Yeah, but it's weird because I don't know. There's something about him. It's like I feel like his soul chose this. I don't know why. I don't think it's right that it happened, but there just feels like a soul contract there. Like I look in his eyes before he died. I'm talking about the weeks before he died. And I swear to God, he knows something. He knows something. I can read him, and he knows something.
Well, I think he knew that he was with a plant, and there's a lot of evidence saying that he was divorcing Erica right before this happened too. So I think he had realized, because there was so much donor money, it was a nonprofit. Like in 2020, they didn't have much money. They actually had to redo their tax returns in 2024 and actually add 23 employees because there was hundreds of millions of dollars running through that thing.
Wow.
Right? So once you go from kind of like, okay, we're doing some cool events, to like, we've got literally like $500 million running through this thing.
Yeah.
And you're just taking the money thinking as the CEO of this, nonprofit, like, hey, like, this is what we've always wanted.
Yeah.
Well, there's from the meetings he had to go to, right? Like when they were all writing to him, or when he had to go to Washington, and like these donors weren't happy about what he was saying about Israel, right? And
exactly,
it's kind of like this is, hey, we gave you money. There's that whole like, I'm scratching your back, you better scratch mine. And then you realize your wife is in on it, like has been planted the whole time.
Oh my God.
Right, exactly.
I mean,
look, I felt that from day one. I'm like, she had something. Like I knew that. I just psychically knew that, right? And even if the shot was so precise, it would have to be either government or, like you said, that microphone that was attached to it. It's one shot so precise, and the timing of when he was, talking about, mass shootings. Actually, it was the timing that actually happened too. And so, no, I mean, to me, it just was so obviously staged, the whole thing, and then of course the drifting that we're seeing now.
I think where they gave themselves away, the government, is by putting it on Tyler Robinson and saying he was having a trans relationship. If that's not more Republican MAGA,
absurd.
that's in office at the time, right?
Like
that just helps to inflame that audience,
the narrative, the agenda,
and so that's the giveaway to me. It's like
100%
where everybody's biting at that moment in time. So let's give them that chum in the water to bring Jaws and make him Jaws, even though he didn't feel like Jaws ever once. And you really think that dude who's having a trans relationship, that he's trans, that he has that kind of rifle and knows how to use it?
It's just sad that they use that to make people justify, it's real. It totally happened. Like, that just shows where the minds of people are at right now.
Right. That's what they used, though, is that they made people believe because they were like, he's now in a new trans relationship. And then when they put out the text messages, they didn't actually put out the text the way you would in court, right? The government put it out as like anybody could have made those.
Yeah, totally. I think honestly they're stupid because they have been, giving us Florida the water. They've been, Mockingbird, all the scripts and everything to be really stupid. Americans have gotten really savvy sitting home watching Netflix, and we see through this bad writing. It's all bad writing, man. And they don't realize it. And it's like, but we've seen this plot so many times, too many times reruns. And it's like, we're going to figure it out. They, the American people, the world population, we get it. We see through it. And I think at some point, the tipping point will be interesting is when the people suddenly go, no, you need to explain yourself again. There's a moment we take our power. And that's what I'm excited for.
Well, I want to mention one more thing. It's also at the same time when they released the JFK files, where that's what Americans for 60 plus years have been like, what happened? It's been a little attraction in Dallas since. And now, then right after they do that, then the Charlie Kirk things happen. It's like, okay, we've given out these documents to make you look at all this weird stuff. But now everybody's doing the same thing they did with JFK and his assassination with Charlie Kirk. It's the same.
That's funny. Let's distract him with another one. I think we'll get to the bottom of it. I actually think it was his vice president the whole time. I mean, I as a kid, I smelled sus with JFK, I think
and I mean, that one, a lot of that one's coming clear with that. But actually, there's a lot of documents that haven't been released yet with JFK. And a lot of stuff came out in the last 2 weeks about it, that it's about the nuclear program in Israel, that's what JFK was coming after.
What?
Yeah.
Wow, that's totally new. How come everything? Wow, what's everything pointing to Israel all of a sudden? It's weird. I mean, I never saw it coming. I never saw it coming.
I got shit for this like 4 or 5 years ago. I said, Trump is a puppet of Israel, and people gave me shit for that. I just saw it. Well, and so it is centered on Israel, and Trump's a puppet of that for Israel. Well, and and I think too, especially now with the war with Iran and all this, the alien.gov that's been reserved and releasing the alien files, that's great for us, but we're still not getting the Epstein files. And for me, someone who suffered sexual abuse as a kid and went through the cult ritualistic trauma in my life, I need these people to be exposed. I need that to be exposed, for based on what I went through in my life, you know what I'm saying? And so everything's deterring away from that.
And especially because there's children involved as well, and that's one of the biggest things, whether it's the abuse of women, the abuse of children, those rates are not going down. And you're letting this just continue to happen and just act like it's no big deal. Or they use all the Pizzagate lingo in them. They'd release that when they told everybody, nah, that's not happening. It's like, that's happening. And then they use all the symbols that are in the Senate building as part of their code. So
the Epstein files is like the blueprint to everything that we question and everything that has been reserved from the public and the media and the masses. The Epstein files holds all that, the blueprint to all that, not just with trafficking, with everything else, those in power.
With vaccines, with everything, with technologies, with investment in cloning. I know. Cloning.
Being a kid in the 70s and seeing a kid's face on a milk carton for my whole life, I'd never put it together. I'm like, holy shit. Because we're kids, we're always talking about, this person's missing, this person's missing. It was like a common thing. even as a kid, I was like, why? I didn't understand. It didn't make sense. And looking for these lost
It was
children.
the ice cream man back then. Remember that
Oh my
was like
God.
the thing to be afraid of.
On
Yes,
milk
yep.
cartons, we're sitting there looking at each
Yeah.
other. It's like it's kind of spooking out too. It's like you can be next. It's dark. But you know what? I don't think I see when we were talking at the beginning of the show with Aries, the people are wanting justice now, and the narcissists are falling. I'll tell you, it's going to flip in the right way. I just don't think mothers against drunk driving would stand there and go with mothers against kidnapping. It's like a scorned mother, watch out. I just think at some point you're going to see the people rise, and that's going to be it. But first, we're going to see a commercial.
Speaking of,
yeah, we'll be right back after this, right, Mister?
Scott Cruz is popularly known for his life-changing one-on-one readings to also guide in your soul ascension journey. With life readings, get insight into your relationships, career, health, trauma healings, past life regressions, and more. Want to connect with a loved one who's transitioned? Scott's mediumship session can be the gateway to you and your loved ones in spirit, bridging the gap between the physical and the spiritual realm. If you want to enhance your own psychic ability, Scott's Intuition Builder session can help expand your psychic and mediumship abilities. So sign on to scottcruzpm.com to book your own personal session today. Scott Cruz is popularly known for his life-changing one-on-one readings to also guide in your soul ascension journey. With
all right,
say please, not again.
Oh gosh, well, this is a perfect topic. It came to us, but we didn't really understand it. But now, as we look at the astrology, it's perfect. It's the idea of being brave enough. Whether or not people will be brave enough to stand up and be who they're meant to be authentically themselves.
I forgot.
You were saying that, David, too. I agree. It's like for the first time in my life, I'm just like, this is me. Deal with it. Take it. I don't give a fuck. Finally, a point where I just don't care. I'm just gonna be myself. I feel that inside my heart, and I think that's what the bravery comes from. Is having the courage to be a leader, frankly. And a leader to me is like a small moment in the grocery store where you go to some kid like, hey, that's not cool. You're hitting your sister, dude. Fuck it. Stop it.
Right. Well, I think part of it, like there was that No Kings thing again this weekend. And it's like, okay, that's cool in a way, but you're not going after the real things that matter, right? Like you should be like, look at the Epstein shit.
Yeah.
Right? If we're all going to march for something, it should be that. But I think what happens is all this Pisces subconscious stuff is like the reason why they do a Charlie Kirk situation is to subconsciously plan into your mind and use this as deep psyops that our government is very good at doing, right? That you start speaking out too much about this, and especially you go out there in public, we're going to take care of that, right? So to be brave right now is to really say, I'm not going to fall for the psyop. And I'm going to say what needs to be said. I'm not going to pick the side to make it feel safe so others don't say, hey, you're saying things that shouldn't be, and to be brave enough, truly, if you look at the world, there's the people who do say the things and aren't afraid. I think of Tiananmen Square, that guy who stood in front of the tanks. I think of people like Martin Luther King Jr. Like that guy is one of the strongest, bravest guys of all time.
No kidding.
And his speeches still give me chills.
Me too.
And I'm not even black, because it was deeper than that. It was the spiritual connection that we are all amazing human beings, and truly to look at our character. Yeah. And I think that, that's what's missing with all these crazy things is that there's no character in these puppets that we're dealing with, right? And I think that we have to actually not just go out and be brave. We have to be brave with some deeper connection to why we're being brave. Like we're being brave because we have souls, right? And we're not going to live in a world with soulless people.
Well, I think a lot of people are afraid of being brave because they think they have to be right about something, or they're not completely right about it. So I'd say being brave is just actually expressing your opinion, or at least, igniting a different point of view. At least I can broaden one's perspective. Like I'm, for one, have been very vocal about chemtrails for a long time. I'm like, whether I know it's true or not, I can look and see it. And when it happens, I have body aches, my allergies act up. It's like clockwork every time I see those spraying. And so I'm vocal about that. And actually I have a few people like, we're like, oh, just conspiracy theorists. And I said, just sit and look, watch. They see the crossing, and they're like, watch in about an hour. It's filled across the whole skies, and there's a film, and you'll start getting a headache. And he's like, oh my God, you're right. I said, just look. So, but even the fact of people thinking I'm wrong, and being brave, being a psychic in this world, right? Still people is taboo, it's scrutinized. I'm still setting up for the space. And so it's not about being right. It's about holding your position as being brave. Right?
Yes.
And allowing yourself to be inspirational enough to at least have people think outside the box. And that's what I say about skeptics. You can't think outside the box. Who's the stupid one, right? Because as being intuitive, we're thinking outside the box. There's a meaning to life, not just we die and lights out. So it's being brave is also challenging the ideas of the norm and understand that we can't believe everything. You can't believe even your doctor. Sometimes you have to cross-check your own doctor, right, and have discernment.
Oh,
so
I don't believe him ever.
But being brave for yourself and saying, I'm going to take a stand for myself too, to make sure I'm not just being spoon-fed information and trusting everybody. And so I think bravery does boil down to like self-love and appreciation, because if you actually appreciate yourself, you'd be cross-checking almost everything, and then being vocal enough to stand up about it, and against those things that perhaps are contradictory, especially in our government and our politics right now.
We talk about AI and how it's going to bring macro things, but the truth is that science today is mostly hacks. They've hacked the body, they've hacked biology. There's a Merlin reality out there. We actually are connected to the universe, whether you believe it or not. And Jesus really did, or Yeshua really did actually heal people because they wanted to be. It was in their belief structure. He couldn't heal anyone. He had to heal the ones that actually wanted to be. So we do have, I think, mind over matter. We do have magical spiritual technology built into us. It's happening for me. I see through walls. It's like if you all the time, all of us see the future all the fucking time, all the time. We see parts of our clients' lives. We see all sorts of things that we're not supposed to see. So we know we're a walking version. Don't be afraid of people who hack the system, because you're built from a higher power that brings you power. It has nothing to do with worshiping any god. It has to do with being who you are, a part of it. I think that's really not paying attention to. Don't stop fucking religion because it's wrong. It's misled us too. The truth is we are powerful beings. They didn't want you to know that. They want you to think you need emotion.
Yeah. But also too, we should just because it says something and people have come to a conclusion, like I know for sure because it was said. We don't all know for sure, right? We don't all know for sure. There's only, like someone said, there's 2 suns. We don't know for sure. It can be leaning that way. I'm to the point now. I'm like, anything's possible at this point. It may be leaning this direction, but I want to be brave enough to say, like, no, I'm not the one to spoon-fed that information, and that'll help others to be more discerning too, because it's safe just to follow what's been spoon-fed for you. A lot of people, it's just safe. It's their comfort, and we were talking about before, like this is a time now. People, here we go, ready for it, David? People are going to be releasing their crutches and not relying on what's been spoon-fed to them by religion, by politics, and that's gonna be scary for a lot of people. But the bravery is saying, I don't need these crutches. I'm standing strong based on what I feel is correct on my discernment. That's bravery, and do it for yourself first. I think people need to really understand.
Yeah, I think I was in sports my whole life, and I still race jet skis professionally. So pretty much, 36 years of my life so far out of the 41.
Wow.
And bravery to me was always whatever sport I played, whatever I got to like varsity or I got to the next level. It was never about like trying to be the best. It's just that first step of like, I'm going to have to do this, and it's scary. But there's no ego attached of like, I want to be the best or whatever. I'm not thinking about hitting the home run in 3rd grade when the pitchers are starting to pitch faster at me. Like when I was in 94, I have a picture, and I'll never forget that year, because that was the year like I went to majors in Little League. And it's like these guys are throwing 65 miles an hour. And I was a year younger than everybody. So I remember being up to bat, being like terrified, but brave enough to go up there. And I just swang and I hit that ball over the fence. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. So I think there's this moment of bravery that's not about like with what I see today and like people protesting to be brave. It's like they're doing it because they want to be this like, they want attention. It's not real bravery. It's just like, I'm doing this for some sort of attention. Bravery is not an attention-seeking thing. It is I'm stepping up to a plate right here, and I don't have the capacity even to think about something like that. I'm just at the full capacity of myself to do what is this next level and to actually embody that energy. And I think that's what's missing, is that people are doing it of like, well, what's the benefit for me? Where true bravery is very sacrificial. The warrior that goes on the battlefield to do it, not just for his country, but for his kids, his wife, it's for all these reasons. There has to be a lot of meaning to it. And there's a feeling of that step up, and you don't have time to think like, is the marketing right? Like,
right.
Yeah.
But the meaning is definitely important, because we have to understand the way the meaning really derives from, and that could actually help us filter out the meaning that's bullshit in our lives, or the meaning that's really critical for us as individuals as well as a collective. And I really feel like a healthy level of skepticism with everything, especially yourself, is very wise. But doesn't mean you go into cynicism either. But just having a healthy level of skepticism where you kind of just challenge things a little bit, you'll find the truth. And using your discernment with that kind of collaboration, you'll probably put yourself in the better environments and more in alignment to what is fundamentally true.
Mm-hmm.
I feel bravery comes down to feeling your own emotions. I think humans are stupid in emotions. Sure, the matter is we're emotionally immature. We're teenagers. We don't know how to see, face those spidey. I hear about you talking on that, getting on that, instrument of power there, racing bikes and racing also jet skis. It's like what I have to do at that moment is calm myself down, be able to be centered in myself, to be able to face those feelings that are coming up that are hard to face. That to me is real bravery. That's where it comes down to, because if you could do it without alcohol or escaping or the daredevil thing that, you're saying, Scott, it's true. Like, people are daredevils. They're just doing it for people do it for the daredevil. But the reality is like, you're facing things you're afraid of. You're facing them alone with yourself on your own. That's bravery to me.
Yeah. Cause there's nobody out there when I'm on the 5th lap going 84 miles an hour and I'm tired and there's 7 guys behind me that want to pass me at 80 miles an hour and they will hit me at the same time.
Yeah.
And there's nobody doing it for me but myself. And it's not to try and prove something, but that calmness has to come in, or else you're going to be more tired. You're holding on too much. You're gripping on too much. And guess what? That you're going to lose. There's a balance between remembering to breathe, to remember to actually like let go a little bit, so you're not holding on so tight. So there is like a balance that has to be found in it too. And,
but you found the purpose to better yourself, to challenge yourself, and that's where we find true bravery, right? Because if I was to, like, I never wanted to be public with being a psychic medium, because I'm like, I didn't want to deal with the scrutiny, but I'm like, well, fuck, I want to develop my ability for myself, and part of doing that for myself and like really understanding and loving the space is to bring it to other people too, right? And then also having the passion to want to defend this space. So, like you were saying, David, you're trying to challenge yourself in the process, and I feel like when people understand the meaning of how it's where we're really trying to develop ourselves, right? And that's the purpose, then we'll be brave enough to stand against anything.
I think you hit it on, that's the nail on the head, because that's where I think spirit comes in. Is like 100%. Spirit opens the portal for when the bravery is, because you know who you are, you've stepped into who you are, and that's where that pathway comes. It's not like you just wake up one day and say, I'm going to be brave, and then the door opens to that exact place. You have you have to own that version of who you are for quite a while. It's not like Martin Luther King woke up and was just like, you know what? I'm just going to go out and say I have a dream speech for today.
Yeah.
That's right.
It's a part of the heart.
Like it's people and it's situations that you've been doing it, and the universe is opening those doors because you are doing it for a greater cause. And it's like, it's whether you're brave enough when the universe opens that door for you to step into it, because you've already been on that track in a weird way too.
Well, we're 1 hour and 11 minutes in. I just want to say that, 1 hour and 11 minutes in, we're going to continue backstage.
We'll finish this backstage. We'll see you guys. We're doing a quick intermission, and we'll continue this conversation. See you in a bit. Oh wait,
we're still here.
We're here.
I think it's hard, man. I think we'll talk about it when we get back. This is,
lower the music.
Let me lower just a little bit. Yeah, it's good.
There we go.
I'm liking it. It's the energy is good. I feel the vibe, guys.
I think I want to either rewrite something else for this new version show, or have David remix this. But I don't know. We'll figure out that.
I need the stems.
Yeah. I don't know if I want to write something new though. We'll
be back.
David, but it's his name. It's been so spot on.
And I don't know if you put it in the side of your end table or not. You said like something in your end table that you too.
super crazy.
Yeah, I don't know if she's showing me flowers. Like, relay them or redo them. These purple flowers.
Oh my God, Scott, the flowers are right there. My orchids are purple. They completely are there.
Yeah.
Did you even know? You nailed
100%.
everything, every single thing. Listen, everyone, this guy.
There needs to be a connection with like a Native American ancestry. And they're showing me a turquoise stone. Yes.
I just went to a Native American dance class and I wore this stone.
Tell me something that he told you that came true.
Everything he's predicted has come true.
I just don't see it.
Who doesn't have cancer?
It's very possible.
Camera's psychic who first questioned Brooke's cancer.
Scott Cruz.
Oh, there you
know
are.
it's
You
Musk.
won.
You better question yourself. We're here to bring enlightenment, not confusion.
You might encounter negative aspects of self, but that's a freeing experience.
Because then they start realizing that they can't think outside the box. And I say, if you can't think outside the box, then who's the stupid one here? We've all co-created this matrix. So if you don't like the matrix, that's you saying that you don't like your own reality, what you're creating for yourself. So we're all equal participants of the creation of this matrix. I don't just come on here and talk shit, repeat shit. I'm living it.
Instagram and TikTok flood you with 10-second horoscopes, clickbait. No depth, no truth. People beg for the Leo King to do it, and I only ride out when it's gotten bad.
One man's riding, truth in hand. Leo King's the last to stand. Eyes wide open, fire inside, cut through shadows.
Floods you with 10-second horoscopes, clickbait. No depth, no truth.
Into the fire, truth crusader, taking it higher, breaking chains of fake desire, burn the false race, truth's empire. Ride on, Leo King, lead the way. Ride on, brighter every day. Ride on, fighting false attire. Ride on forever into the fire.
Yo. What up? What
All
up?
right. What time is it? 8:35. I give it 25 minutes and I'm out.
I thought you were already out, bro. I guess you came back.
You know, we go both directions sometimes. Sometimes I'm in, sometimes I'm out. You never know. That's the aqua vibe, right?
Oh, good. Yeah.
Mystery.
I think though it's important sometimes. You do in life have to sometimes go in and get out and kind of go, oh,
that's what she said.
The right thing. And that
Yes.
honestly, I mean, that goes in that realm too.
That's what she said. Yeah. I mean, look, I've been 2 years, I think we've been doing LOL. You know, went from 4, you were supposed to be 5th, and you had kids, and I stuck with it. And I don't know, some kept telling me, stick with it, stay with it. And then, you know, I guess I know why now. Dave's back. Yeah. We just waited 2 years for you to come back.
I know, and I don't feel bad, to be honest with you, because
you shouldn't feel bad. No, dude, not at all, dude.
I was like, I had to be in the right space to come do this show.
Yeah,
you can't
100%.
do any spiritual work, even if it's a show, right? People think that spiritual shows like, oh, you just do it. The universe won't let you do it if you're not in a good space.
I totally agree with you. And look, I was just joining social media and YouTube, right? And so like going out of my comfort zone, you know, because I didn't need social media with my work. It was just busy, you know?
Right.
And so then Spirit's like, you got to go on YouTube. And I resisted it for so long. And then when I'm like, no, I'm not fucking doing YouTube, my business took a screeching halt. Like it didn't make any sense. I'm like, I have 13 years ago. How does this happen? And so right when I went on YouTube, then everything exploded. So I'm like, all right, Spirit, I got your number. So, but I need to kind of familiarize with that and fuck up and make an ass out of myself, you know, do a lot of things and then understand the commenting, how people, you know, I want to like,
I wish I would have known you and been like, bro, you're a celebrity psychic on television. This is the right move. Cause like, that's what I was, a celebrity astrologer doing reality shows. And it was like, okay, I guess I'm going to do YouTube.
I guess
actually it was YouTube that got me better reach than, because you know, you're the only person I can relate with that is to be a celebrity like psychic astrologer on a reality show that everybody's watching. It's just like this couple weeks of just really big, like, yeah, you might get that 10, 20 million people watching you at once. And you could feel it as an energetic being and a spiritual, but you could feel it. It's intense. Yeah.
It is intense.
But then
it had me booked out for like, for me, it lasted like for like 10 years, like a long time. Like it just was getting, you know, I built the clientele. I was loyal with it too. And so that's why I didn't need it. You know, and so I was just kind of like, and yeah, it's big. And then the reruns, and I was booked for a year in advance for like many years. I'm like, this is too much. Like it's too much commitment for me, you know? So, but yeah, I feel like, you know, now I understand why, because I love to speak, you know, I love to dabble with motivational speaking and.
Well, you want to help people too. And I think what's cool when you're able to do it like on a show and help people.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's for you, but for me, I feel like I'm like at my best when there is all the cameras and there is like this.
Me too. Yeah, I agree.
It's more like, oh, I feel like that's the stage that was set to actually represent for you being a psychic, me an astrologer. It's like, okay, the universe put me here to represent this. I'm going to do the best job. And that's why I'm here. It wouldn't have opened unless you were able to do that.
It's true. That's true. But I think it's more so the connection of people. And I find it like, I like being able to watch myself back and critique myself, be like, oh, fuck, you're too long on this. You know, I like to like edit myself by watching myself. So it's been helpful to even things that I say. I'm like, I want to evolve my wisdom on things, you know? So I constantly look back. I'm like, that's a shitty idea, you know?
I actually am the opposite. I'm like, you know, because I caused a lot of ruckus on my reality shows, right? Like where people are like, did he really say that? I'm like,
yep.
I look at it as like, thank God I said that I could always look back and be like, you know what? I was young. I did it. Screw it. Like, whatever. I don't care. Like, if anything, I look at it as a badge of honor. Like, yeah, I did say that. Who cares?
I think, but that's the thing that you, Christopher and I have in common is that we somehow like start a fire somewhere.
Right. That is true.
I'm always starting something with someone. You know, people are offended by something I say all the time, and so I'm always like somehow like starting a fire with something. So I think all three of us have that in common. So
yeah, and I think if you actually take that time, like reality is not the same anymore. TV is not the same. We got to do it when that was actually the thing.
True.
And so I think that's like one of the coolest things is to be able to be like, you know, yeah, I was in the middle of that during the peak of that, right? Where now it's like people kind of go, oh yeah, no, whatever, you know, like.
Well, David, you have to also understand, I'm sure you agree with this too. Like when I was doing reality TV, like I was dealing with reality TV type of people questions and scenarios. I'm like, I want more than this. So then of course the craft evolves where it becomes mentorship, becomes like your audience is now spiritually inclined people, right? People who have like a broader consciousness. And so you can dive deeper, right? With an audience shift out of, because reality TV, I had a lot of people from reality TV and they had some of that, but it was always, I couldn't go as deep as I wanted to go as I'm now. True. Right, because I want my audience to evolve with the work too, you know.
Yeah, because like the TV world's not meant for that depth. There's not enough time. There's other people, so you know to have more of these longer term. What was that? Where did he go?
No,
there he
is. That was me. Right of refusal right there in my contract. No, I agree. I mean, I went to TV and film school, and I'll tell you right now, it's designed to get you to the commercial. It's designed to give you it's completely designed to give you anxiety before the commercial. And then not resolve it after the commercial and just keep stringing along. And it's dumb. And it never goes deep. One thing interesting about Netflix and stuff is that the binge watching of shit changed things because people sat down and they watched a thing from start to end. And they got deep. And TV like that is cool because you can get so deep in character, so deep in nuance. It just opens up a whole new opportunity, I think, for storytelling. And so I think that's where it's going. I think it's going deep episodics, you know, and even reality, deep reality. And here's the thing. Anyone can do it. Anyone can do it. And now with AI, anyone can do it. So
I have to say that when I was on the auditions for True Beauty, which I didn't know was True
I remember
Beauty,
that day. I was there, brother.
Vegas, but all of the auditions, especially I had to do the callback with only like 50 people out of 30,000 that they had chosen the 50. And Witeki was on the phone with me that whole like 3 days I was out there giving me advice, especially because I'm like, I'm an astrologer. Like there's never been a show yet that will feature an astrologer this big, and him and I talked the whole time I was in Vegas, and then afterwards, and then we talked every day for years.
But kudos to you for having the balls to do it, dude. Like you came out like
that was 2009.
Astrology was not a cool thing at all.
I know,
especially reality TV.
I know.
You just balls out like just talking about it, like, and everyone, people in the cast, they didn't know how to handle it. No one knew how to handle it. You really threw it all upside down in that sense. And I think they were smart to keep you on the show and everything because normally it would rule that part out. Like
it was so old where I'm saying in the show, like, yeah, this Saturn in Virgo is testing my self-worth as a Leo, and Pluto just went into Capricorn, and I'm giving readings about Pluto and Capricorn just coming in. I'm like, that is crazy.
Yeah. And they've got everyone in the show going, like,
well, they're like what is that?
What?
Yeah, it's interesting.
But honestly, if people knew Witeki was one of the biggest parts for that in my life, like helping me, like coaching me and talking to me through all that. I had nobody else. Who are you going to talk to in 2009 about astrology?
That's true. Or even
and honestly, TV at the same time, because that's Witeki. Right. That's who he is. Yeah.
I love it. But I love both of you in the sense that, like, very rarely can I have conversations this deep with anybody. I try. I wish. I want to. And I'll even at a party or something, I'll go just a little bit there. I'll be like, oh, that's really interesting. And they're gone. I'm like, well, shit. You know, like I'm that guy. Yeah. It's real refreshing. I feel like the people, like, for whatever reason, our stories have been, we were alone at first. I don't know why. But all the light workers I talk to, people who hold light in their heart and just want to see more of it, they all start off alone. It's like the story starts where you're alone. It's like Luke Skywalker, you're in the desert. You know, your parents are idiots. The robots are dorks. It's like, and you yourself don't know if you'll ever meet someone that you can, like, just, you know, relate to. But I have to say that the universe has been bringing them 1, 2, 3. It's starting to accelerate now. More and more people that I'm finding that I just feel this deep connection to, where I have to get torn away to go home and party or whatever. It's like, and it's exciting. And I think that's part of the new age that's so exciting, is that, you know, Aquarius is the two lines that float together, you know, and what it means is like birds of a feather. It's like, we're going to find those people who have the same vibe as us. And we're finally, through technology, AI, you know, space travel, like, we're going to be able to come together. And that's exciting.
It's funny because like you helped David like embrace the internet stuff, right? And you helped me when I just started like, oh, I'm going to do the Instagram lives I was doing, and then I got connected with you, and you got me start doing the YouTube stuff. So you know, there's an interesting. You're like the daddy here for us,
and the daddy
when it comes to our social media exposure. But I agree with you, Christopher. It's like you try to have these conversations with people that can like the last 2 seconds, and then they're like too much, or their head once exploded, their head hurts, you know. And I think even just our conversation, all of our conversations on the show is just like how we normally talk.
Yes,
like it's not put on. But just how David talks, how I talk, how you talk. It's how we all talk.
Well, what people don't know is like I met Chris when he had a girlfriend and I had a girlfriend. We went to a club, and actually it was Jamie Foxx.
Yes,
that we
saw in Orange County.
We were there for Jamie Foxx. Met Jamie Foxx. Chris gave me a reading that night at his at his hotel, like at the pool. Him and I went to the pool just like at like 3 a.m, and he told me, I'm going to be a celebrity astrologer on TV. That was his reading.
Yes.
I'm like,
and inside I'm like, God damn it, that's my job. Yeah.
Then literally I'm on the audition like a year later. And get it. And then on New Year's Eve 2010, I'm sitting in the warehouse with Wateki and Kristen Ryder.
Full moon in Cancer.
And it was and we're at this party, and we're both thinking of the 2010s. I'll never forget about it, like the future, and like us talking about like what's it gonna be like. And it didn't really turn out. I don't think that we thought it would, but I think the spiritual part did. I think we were like, we're gonna witness people starting to wake up, and that's gonna be the main thing.
And now it's here. I mean, what I didn't expect was a tour through the dark. I mean, what surprised me was Neptune and Pisces, like just churn up all the past life stuff. And so for me, I was very positive. And then all of a sudden, all this stuff came up that I had to deal with. And that was the hard part for me. I think it was hard part for all of us. Like, shit, where's this coming from? Because I thought I was on top of that stuff. I mean, I was the one, in the family going to therapy. I was the one trying. And so here it's hitting me harder. Like, what WTF, But come full circle. It's like, okay, now with this show, it's like, oh, okay, we were right. And that was a full moon in Cancer, remember?
I do. I remember, and it was with Pluto in opposition. It was Sun Pluto opposite the full moon.
So it was like Kristen Ryder. Shout out to Kristen.
Yeah. And I think that's where it's like, we think we know, but it's like it's what we know spiritually. It's like the deeper essence. And I think where we're at now, because I think when Chris was just saying it right after 2010, it was really that 2012 shit that was real. Whether people believe it or not, 2012 happened.
Oh yeah.
And I don't think that we've all seen what that fully is. And that's why these crazy things are happening. Is more like, we're seeing that we did enter into a completely new system. I think, like as you said on the show, time is speeding up. I think you're right. By the time that new moon at 27 Aries comes and all those planets in Aries, it's like, holy crap.
Yes, I think that's it. Well, I remember it's because Obama came in and we were like, oh my God, there's African American president. I was like, yay. And then like 2012, I was like, wait, something's not right. I just started like, we sold a bill of goods. I'm not talking about him. I'm just talking about everywhere. It just starts coming out that things aren't what we thought in our own self and in the world. And that was
that's happened with every president.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, but that wasn't it. I mean, I remember the excitement of him being elected. I was just so excited because I just wanted, I wanted the world to get along. I mean, the reason why I talk to everyone else, it's totally selfish. I want a world where we're fucking getting along and have a good time. So I came down here. I did not come down here, to fuck around and have all these problems. Like, that's not what this was supposed to be for me. It's not what I was sold. So I've always had this secret ambitions. Like, I just want people to have fun. And
but we're getting there. Christopher always says, like, people always talk about Armageddon. Like, we didn't sign up for that. That's not where we're going. But just think everything was so like under the radar before like social media. Everyone had their secret communities. Now, like, we've gone through this process of these communities being exposed. Now we're starting to say, holy shit, that exists. That exists. So to me, the chaos is just recognizing who we are as a species. And I think now when that kind of levels out a little bit, then we're like, okay, now we can actually integrate together. So to me, the end result is not Armageddon. It's like we become connected as a species finally.
Did you guys feel like a shift? Like I don't know when it happened, but like I would always feel in the future, I'm like, there's some doom coming. There's some doom coming. There's some doom.
Oh yeah. And
then all of a sudden I was like, I don't feel any doom. What the fuck? Like, and I was like, something's wrong, David. I'm not feeling any doom. Like, I would seriously a little panic that there wasn't doom feeling. And I was like, there must be a phase that I'm going through. to this day, I don't feel doom. I don't feel it.
No, I
coming.
think that feeling of doom is really feeling the collective that's still attached to like the old program that has been right. It's like that. That's the feeling of when finally something cracks to where they can't hold on to that anymore.
Right.
That's the feeling of doom. But that's what Lightworkers were here for, is to be like, hey, it's all good. It's actually way better. Trust me.
Yeah, I also think we can sense the dark cycles coming. Like I sensed 2020 before 2020, since that back in 2015.
That's what I mean.
You know,
it's always
and
coming.
like,
It's always coming.
we know it's a dark period, but I think that we need to like re-identify darkness. To me, darkness just means unrefined. A lot of people say darkness is negative or evil. I'm like, it's just unrefined. So we're in a dark period. It's going to refine us. You know, and that's what 2020 was. Look what COVID did, right? With people in their where they live, they've realized I don't want to be in this relationship. I want to move. Like many people shift their fucking lives in 2020, and that was a whole cycle. I feel with 2020.
I love COVID because it was a dark agenda that fucking backfired.
Yeah,
I love it. I love that. I love that because honestly, I can feel the conspiracy. It is a conspiracy, y'all. It's called a business plan. And it's not a conspiracy. It's like written up and typed and distributed in meetings. Like it's not. But the thing is, and I sense it. I always knew it. If you work in any company or any kind of situation that goes high up, you know, everyone's cheating.
Well, it's the proof. Yeah, it's the proof that dark plans fail.
Yes, it is. You know why? Because they don't have creativity. They're idiots. If you don't connect to the spirit, you're not going to be creative at all. So apparently, you've been trying to kill people with vaccines since 1908. Well, you guys suck. That's 100 years of failure. You should be, you know, you're idiots, you know, honestly. And as people, we need to stop being intimidated by that. You know, that, you know, the truth of the matter is that people who want to hurt people are dumb. They're young. And we should not be afraid of them. Like, honestly, they're not involved. They're not connected to source. We got to quit giving them power in horror movies.
That's
and do something else more exciting, you know?
And that's what was interesting about Fauci being the kind of like person that everybody was supposed to think was smart. And it was like, no, this guy ruined AIDS. Did horrible things during that.
Yeah, he was demonized during that time, like withholding those experimental drugs.
So of course he would come back and do a repeat again.
Not to be trusted.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh yeah. Well, he's going down. I feel. I mean, those people will be. I do feel, and they knew it. I mean, I think they're hoping to get away with it, but it's like, no, you're not really going to get away with anything, y'all. Eventually, you know, even if you're 95, they'll come get you and put you in jail because it's right. It's the right thing to do. If you hurt a human being and you knew you're doing it, shame on you. You know, that's just where we're at now.
If the purpose for our species and spiritually is for us to evolve, we were open perspective and have that discernment regardless. So I mean, that's going to happen no matter what. I mean, those who like that's the people being left behind is those who don't open up their awareness to that. But yeah, people who hurt people. I mean, I think that they aren't that powerful, right? Yeah. Because I was hurt, like, so I went through that trauma, and most people say, "Oh, they've been through trauma." I didn't decide to hurt because I went through my trauma, you know, and maybe more empathetic, maybe more sensitive to others too that go through similar situations. So, but I think that all of our eyes are opening, and like we were saying before, the time is speeding up on that. So I think a lot of people are shocked by what.
Humans are so amazing, and we've never tried really to come together. I mean, that's what excites me is like, you guys, we've never even tried. I think the reason why Atlantis is like a myth and all this is because that was the land that allegedly did the best they could. They were like pushing what is exceptional with psychics who were talking to heaven to see what should we do, connected, and, you know, giving food and fruit. Everything was to everyone. Like it was the real, you know, perfect life. And apparently what happened is, tell me if your intuition says this, that some dark ass aliens came down and started seducing the leadership. And the leadership started to get addicted to the pleasure of darkness. And that was a new thing. They had not been exposed to darkness.
Dark alien.
Yes.
Seduction, like fembots.
Like just, you know, just the idea of mixing pain with pleasure came then. And it was a twisted thing. And
BDSM versions of damn.
Exactly. No, and even I think to the people who, God bless Robin Williams, who allegedly died masturbating. Like he didn't hang himself; he died masturbating. That's the story. You know, like really, fuck, Jesus. I know. I'm just gonna say it. I mean, we got to talk about this stuff, y'all.
Say it.
It's true. It's like I love that man, and he, you know, and I think he was struggling. He was a coke addict, obviously. Mork was on coke, obviously. You know, and talked about it, and he talked about his sobriety and everything. But I think he just could not find that high. And he ended up dying looking for a high. Like that's so sad. It's a twisting of the dark and the light. I'm sorry, I'm the only one that has the balls to do it. I'll say
I love it. I'm just laughing because that is the saddest life you could be. You're chasing the high so much, you're doing blow, you're masturbating, and you die while doing that. Like that's sad.
Yes, it is.
It is sad,
but it's hilarious at the same time too.
There's a greater joy when we get along. There is. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Morgan.
Do you think that any of these public figures may have dipped out of the public eye and staged
Oh,
their
no,
death?
not him. Not him.
Oh, stage death.
He's dead.
Yeah, like to maybe participate in the disclosure of that world.
I think that's possible. I've always questioned that too. I think it happens. I don't know if it happens as frequently as people may think who think that way, but I think it's definitely happened.
I think Epstein somewhere having a margarita. I don't think he's dead. I really don't think Epstein's dead.
I think he is. You think he's dead? I tapped into he's gone.
They got Hitler out of Germany, dude. They got him out. He was in Argentina for years. Like, they get Hitler out of Germany, they can get Epstein out of that little office. I mean,
Charlie Kirk could be alive too, for all we know.
No, I don't know. He's so soulful. I don't think he could hide and lie like that.
I don't know, but he was able to do that and know about his wife and put on the show. He's pretty good at putting on the show.
He is.
Okay. If it were possible, who would be the top contenders?
Elvis,
yeah.
He's alive somewhere.
Lennon.
Elvis actually died of a drug addict. He was a drug addict.
Unfortunately, ones.
Who would be?
Well, Tiger Woods is still alive, even though he flipped another truck this week.
Who?
Tiger Woods got drunk again and flipped his SUV on the side of the road.
Oh my God.
Another DUI.
I know. I was thinking, that was a Pluto Capricorn thing for that Capricorn. Nope.
Carrying over. Tell me this, and this is no offense to those watching, but I haven't seen the Capricorns really learn. They're the only sign I see get through Pluto transit and still keep the stuff. It's like, how the fuck do you do that? Like So
you're saying RFK will probably have an affair?
Oh, I don't know why he would have to. I mean, he seems like he's pretty happy with that woman.
Remember, that was what was happening right when he came in, though, was that whole girl that was in the journalist and all the text messages, and he was like,
I think he's a flirt. I think Capricorns, they can't help it. Like, they are just they get off on the power, They get off on the power. There's something about the power, and there's Capricorns that like to be on, taking their power taken. It's just their turn on. I think most people get signs get kind of turned on by what their talents twisted, their twisted talents.
I mean, honestly, if I think of people, though, I think, the Charlie Kirk thing might be the one. Like, who else is kind of left? Like, if you really start thinking about age and stuff, there's a guy who just claimed it was a story last week that he was Hitler at 128 years old or whatever. And but it's that seems like an old National Enquirer thing. They're rebringing back stories now.
Pretty sure Hitler went through Argentina. I mean, there's a lot of evidence.
Yeah, that came out in the JFK files.
Yeah. And we let it sit there and. I don't know. There's a lot of people I think disappear. I know John F. Kennedy Jr. may live. I mean, and I didn't believe that until all the freaking stuff that went on during COVID and all the history that JFK, he was actually alive and sending messages. And I thought about it for a while. I'm like, you know what? Actually, he did die sus. He did just his plane disappeared. I don't know. That's one guy that might be living up somewhere, and his wife. And I can see why he would, because his father, his uncle died. Like, I might do the same thing. Take the family witches. When his mom, I know, God bless her. She's seen everyone die in her family. Jackie Onassis. I have felt a real soft spot for that woman. I think she went through a lot. She didn't.
Or do you think some of these people, they say die, but then they go get cloned and they get stuck?
Okay.
Clones.
They say about Biden, right? That Biden's a clone. They say.
I think he was actually. I'll say right now. That was an actor. So many times it was not fucking him.
The robot, clone, and AI in one. It was like they were throwing out the different versions.
The deep fakes. I definitely could see a lot of. As a
trained director, the actor sucked. I'm telling you. I saw through the performance so many times. Even when he was playing delirious and stuff on stage, like, this is bad. I want to go.
Or the hands through the microphones,
yeah.
Oh yeah,
it was a totally different guy. Plus, we had the earlobe thing. I mean, there was a lot of stuff out there. It was like, come on, blue eyes, black eyes. I saw that with my own eyes. The different eye colors.
Or his double chin on Air Force One, like one of his last kind of the
mask gun. And the inauguration was the weirdest fucking thing I've ever watched on television in my life.
Because it wasn't.
It was so
live.
Weird.
It was pre-recorded the days prior,
and Bernie in the stands like this. That was like the Bernie thing.
Didn't they confirm the Epstein files? Did they say something about Biden being cloned in the Epstein files?
Right.
Wasn't there some chatter about that too?
Yeah, they said it's having a mask malfunction.
Right.
And, I mean, how many times did we see it where there's a little rubber tab? hanging
Well,
off.
they also did a 3-gun salute at Biden, which has never been done for a president, and that's always a foreign dignity entering in the Arlington Cemetery. That's the official military.
That's all the weird shit. Like
that is weird.
Where it looks like all the world.
It looks
leaders
like China had
capitulated.
taken over America, and we knew about it, and they used the clone for the 4 years of Biden.
Y'all, this is Morgan. People ask me who you are. This is Morgan, our director. He does the producing and directing in the background. And we think it's
kind
cool.
of like a ghosty today.
Yeah, he doesn't have. Ironically, he doesn't have the right equipment. But no. But
to me, that was the biggest one. No president's ever had a 3-gun salute.
That's weird. There's a lot of it. Look, I'll tell you, it smelled fishy. It just smelled. The whole COVID thing felt wrong from day one.
Yeah.
It felt. I mean, my psychic side was going through the roof. Like something is way off here. This is not normal. I don't believe it. And when it came out with China, when the first story came out, I was like, this is bullshit.
It is, yeah.
And then it's like when it came to America, I'm like, oh shit, we're gonna swallow this bullshit.
And
Like,
and they had a vaccine like within like months.
Yeah,
like
that was patented.
That was
like,
already patented.
Come on, guys.
Patented. Like, how does that happen? And to me, it was funny that everybody across the world got infected within a matter of a month or two. Too. It didn't like take a year for it to spread. It kind of spread all at once. It felt like to me too with that.
You know, honestly, it's all. And I was. Really
I think they sprayed shit in the skies, and they did the shit they do now, and then they used frequencies, and that's what they. And then they said, "Okay, you're sick," and that's how everybody got it, because people who were like in Amish communities or in New York that weren't around anybody got it, but they never went into town.
Right.
So nobody came in. So that's how I knew it was fake when that stuff started coming out. I'm like, this is not. There is no COVID thing. Like
there was so much shit. Where it seemed like Biden was like had a sound stage with his office. You know,
yes,
they built that.
Yes, that's weird. Come on. And what
Wasn't
about 5 years?
like fucking like one of the entertainment studios or something?
That's what they did. They built that across the street from the White House.
What the fuck? And the thing is,
why wouldn't you use the White House?
Every TV commercial is saying every day for our whole life, are you sick? Do you have this symptom? Do you have that symptom? We're being programmed before that to always worry about being sick. So to me, it's like every hypochondriac in the world fell for it. And if you believe it, you are it. I mean, and plus we were unhealthy. We're eating processed food. We're eating all this shit that's full of chemicals and not even food. They have all the food in the middle of the grocery store that never needs to be refrigerated. That's all crap. Okay.
Yeah.
That's what we eat as Americans all the time. You know,
but when
people,
when people like completely deny like there is not a COVID, like an actual virus or whatever it is, to me is not wise, because I got COVID 3 times and like I still have like breathing issues from it, and I'm very healthy.
Well,
so,
about that too.
there was something going on.
Was it a chemical though? I mean, like you're sensitive. Like
that's what I'm saying. So whatever, like I was saying, whatever sprayed in the skies and how people got it so quickly, it's still planned to me.
It started like that, but I think then when the vaccine rolled out,
then the vaccine actually did it,
and then they spread it around. That's how they created it.
Guess who I got COVID from 3 times? From vaccinated people, actually.
Yeah. Yes. Exactly. Yep. No,
but I got it from you. No one else, around me that I know was not.
Shingles was not a thing for 40-year-olds until they got the shingles vaccine went out. Come on, guys. I remember grandma and grandpa getting it. They were it's like it doesn't come back. And the fact chickenpox comes back and all this stuff, honestly, we're gullible. We think about it, for about how many thousand years? 2,000. We lived without all this technology, and we made it in a society. They're like, what about the bubonic plague? Bubonic plague was a one-time event because they wouldn't clean the shit out of the streets. It was not Mother Nature raging hell on us. Mother Nature does not hate us, doesn't want to extinguish us. It's never been the case. And the human body is natural; it adopts on its own. So it's like we have to start just judging our life by how we experience our life, and not let other people tell us what life is.
Yeah.
We have to get
it got so extreme though, because it's like then if you were anti-COVID vaccine, people say, "Oh, then you're an anti-vaxxer and you're a Trump supporter." It's like I just don't. I'm anti this vax, and I'm anti like the flu vaccine, but other vaccines I feel like are very valuable. I think people have gotten so polarized and paralyzed by things being so like false. It's like we don't get to embrace the positive things that do exist too. That I think people just brush it off as all being bad. You know what I'm saying? And so, and I think, we're getting sick. I think Big Pharma has a huge portion of that money-making, process. I believe there's a cure for cancer and a cure for AIDS, and you're just like milking the system with that too. It's a control thing.
Oh yeah,
keeping people sick. And
the rumor is $3 million. The rumor is $3 million so you can be cured of HIV. That's the rumor. The rumor is $3 million. There's a price tag. I don't know where you buy it, but there's people who have bought apparently, and it's
I know people who have been.
I believe it is when it was designed, it had to go with it.
Yeah, a friend of mine had a dad who built this technology in South Africa, and he would heal, people of HIV, cancers. It was banned here, of course. And so he had this, you'd walk into the machine, sit it for like an hour, and the tone and frequency was actually target the tone and frequency of the cancer or the HIV. And I think after a week of treatment, they'd be cured of it. Oh, and of course,
my cousin actually had that treatment that with the sound waves for cancer that we talked about last week.
How'd it go?
And he had stage 4 cancer. He was pronounced, it was the end, and it just like agitates the tissue inside the tumor. And like it expands and contracts it and liquefies the tumor.
Like zaps it. It knows its frequency and can zap it, And I think
that bridge in Alaska that came apart from sound waves, like if you hit it with the right frequency, it's just going to implode. It's just going to go away.
Right. That's what Einstein did. That's
totally. And also Tesla. That's why we still always records when he died.
Yeah. Tesla did that. Yeah. Certain frequency and lit his apartment building on fire.
Look, the whole story of HIV, of how it came from one guy who's a flight attendant, flew from New York to San Francisco, tells you, they just put in one guy. It's like pretty much that's it. It's like it didn't just.
That's what's scary though, is that Fauci was part of that whole entire thing and doing the ACT and all that weird stuff.
Yes,
and then
COVID research.
Then it's the same thing with COVID, and then making the vaccines, and actually people popping positive for HIV, right, with the first vaccines. If you don't remember that in Australia, and then that's actually it makes you immunocompromised, those vaccines, right? So it's like,
and the medicine
there's a common. Like the same guy doing the same things and but changing the way that it's spread. It was very.
You know, it's interesting too, because I had a lot of people ask me about like my read on the vaccines, and I said, I feel like some are clean and some are dirty. Like
I got to. It was a Russian roulette.
And then we hear from the Epstein files where that's where they were trying to contaminate, the Pfizer vaccines with COVID and putting what's his face's seed in it and so forth.
HB40 and all that.
Right.
I always felt like the Johnson & Johnson one was the only one that was pure, but it was a different experiment. I felt Johnson & Johnson had like a different experiment on humankind. They're all lab experience. They're all, to me, it felt like the old Hitler.
We're lab experience.
Yeah, and I felt Johnson & Johnson was the one that didn't have like whatever that was, but it had something else it was like they were experimenting with how to mass exterminate. I really feel like that. And they failed. You guys,
but it feels like right now with the war, it's the same thing. The way that they're like the excuses of like, no, we're gonna get out of this in 3 weeks.
Oh yeah,
right. Like we're like, and then the media is just like, yeah, it looks like it's over. And then, oh wait, no, it's not. Now, they've raised the draft to 42 years old, like all that, it's like why are you doing all this stuff on top of saying at the same time that it's going to go away? That's what they did with COVID, right? Like it's only going to be 2 weeks to stop the spread.
Oh man, what a mind fuck.
Right. But everyone's watching now, right? Everybody's watching now. So that's why they can't get away with it. Because before they could stand behind a green screen and say they're in Iran, they're not. Because you look up old CNN, shit. It's like, we used to buy into that shit. We thought they were really there. And so now our eyes are glued, but they're still doing the same tactics.
The biggest mistake they ever made was giving us the internet. That was the biggest fucking mistake they ever made. Because at that point, we were all wired. And the next mistake is AI.
Exactly.
That is so stupid because at this point we're gonna figure everything out, you dumb fuckers.
We're going back. We're taking past clips, and these baby boomers don't realize everything's on the internet because they're so not tech savvy.
My mom can't make the VCR programs.
Remember this? We have the vlogs, and so they don't know how to maneuver around the fact that we know their tactics now. So
Christy Noem's husband, just
right?
Wow. Yeah.
Right, like, sorry, bro. Like, the internet exists, dude. You didn't know about that before you wanted to like cross-dress, like in a
it's
club?
always those anti-gay, transphobic people that are actually either having sex with
actually are the closet ones.
The pastors, there's 186 pastors and conservative leaders that were charged with sex abuse or child sex crime in 2025 alone. 186.
That's going to change. I feel
the Catholic Church is the number one of all time in every country and the most amount of victims of all time.
I think they actually say the Vatican is not a country. I'm sorry, you're not a country. You're a small town in Italy.
But do you know how many trans people? But I'm saying, do you want to know how many trans people were convicted in 2025? One.
Well, yeah.
So it's just saying the agenda that's going on. Let's pick on the minority of a minority of 0.01% of our population. Let's throw that in your face to focus on that as a distraction. And so
that's what actually Hitler used. He used that same
example.
Yeah. Yep.
You
So
know
people
what?
think it was the Jews. It was actually the trans people first.
I think once we have memories of past lives, which are coming out, they're coming. You've all been a woman. You've all been a man. I'm sorry, y'all. You've all had tits and a penis at some point in your life, and it's like, get over it. It's just biology. You know what I mean? Like, get over it. It's just biology.
Well, to go back to that Christy Nome thing, it's even crazier because obviously she got kicked out of being the head of Homeland Security, which right now is not funded, and the reason why the TSA and all that, it's all connected to that.
Yep.
But then it was really because she's having an affair with Corey Lewandowski, who was Trump's #1 guy in the first term.
Wow.
And she obviously knew that her husband was a cross-dresser. And,
right. Because she
was going out and talking shit about people that do that.
Right.
But then acting like I love my husband to hide her fucking scandal of an affair. That's where it all is like, wait, what?
Well, it's we're at a point where like we see through you.
Yeah, there was a little lull in the headlines, so they had to keep it interesting for us.
I think it's whatever sticks. At this point, there's a desperancy there. I don't think they're getting the reactions they want. I also don't think people are watching. See, Nielsen doesn't mean anything. And Google cheats the internet anyways. You're not getting we don't have any real numbers. And they're terrified. I think they're terrified because they cannot really read where things are. Everyone flocked away from social media after you started banning our shit on Facebook. So like, fuck you, we're not going to tell you what we think anymore. So they're, the best thing we can do as Americans and world citizens is pull back and stop commenting. Let them be afraid. Let them wonder what we're talking about. And I know our phones and all that stuff have got to like listen to us all the time. They listen to us right now. But honestly, it's a lot of data. It's a lot of people to try to get. Really, we outnumber them. That's why they want to kill us.
Yeah, and there's not enough data centers already for AI. So let alone to process all the data of every combo you have.
And look at
there's a new product that came out that somebody used AI to make that you just put it in your room and any microphone, like we don't hear the frequency, but any microphone, it blocks it out. So you could be safe in your house or whatever and never be heard.
That's the tech that's going to fly off the shelf right there. And that's something I've been thinking about too. It's the tech that will protect. Any tech that protects from a techie, I'm just kidding, is going to be, I think, something that's going to take off because at the end of the day, we should not trust anything. Our food, our water, everything, we have to look at it as citizens and start over. If we have AI, we can do it too.
Yeah, but people need to just be aware the more. I think because some people just take it too far sometimes, and I think they go so far in the other direction. So that's also, they actually they win when you go so far out into delusional land too and dismissing everything. They wouldn't do. So you just have to be more aware.
Sensationalized though. How many
UK is there? The UK just came out and said we're going to stop policing social media and actually go back into the streets and fight crime yesterday.
Oh my God, what an idea.
And said, and respect your free speech again. I'm like,
what
kind of fucking message is that? Like, we just didn't feel like following your free speech for the last couple of years and we wanted to arrest like 35,000 of you.
I could not believe it.
And we'll get back to fighting crime in the street. Like what?
It was Britain's karma that they would have, at the time of the United States' annual, United States broke away from Britain. So they broke away. United States broke away from Britain when Pluto was in Capricorn. Britain is a Capricorn. Okay, they're a Capricorn nation. And here in this next wave of it, now they're being oppressed by the own kind of powers that they had put on the world. So they had that colonialism going to come back at one point. But they're also very intelligent. I mean, they're probably the most educated population worldwide in history as far as being regularly educated. So their common sense are like, no. Their citizens are like, no. You're talking about a population that was not going to stand for it. And Americans stopped educating their people, I don't know, 1950. Like we started like railroading them into being factory workers and, been in the military. And so we haven't had a round education, and humans in America have not been taught how to think freely. It's not a multiple choice.
Well, and I think if King Charles hasn't really had a good run, right? Like Queen Elizabeth wouldn't have let that happen.
Well,
but at the same time, Charles, when he was prince, let Diana die, let all these weird kind of situations happen, right? So he let that weird situation happen. That also makes me think, though, what's the new thing that he's up to? If he, because people forget that Parliament is controlled by the king, even though they try to make it separate. The prime minister every week goes and talks with the king or who's ever the sovereign, king or the queen. And then there are laws that the royal crown can say, I don't like this in Parliament, and overrules certain things. People try to disprove that, but they've never given their power away. And same as in Canada, there's that same rule with the governor general who represents the crown. It's,
but royal in the old days, as you know, friend who's been a king. I mean, it's like royal in the old days was that you felt like your heart was here to take care of these people. You're their father, you're their mother. It was not to overlord and be all powerful. There were crazy Louis XVI and those are kings, but you knew that you had been chosen by God clearly. And if you were a God-fearing man, you would never take advantage of that. You saw them as a family. So the original idea, I think,
I
was
would
a
have
father,
taken advantage of his parties, Louis the 16th. I would have been like, "Hey, bro, I'm down for your party."
Oh yeah, but I don't feel like this.
Leo, I would have been like, "Damn, there's a lot of French girls here, and they're dressed to the nine." Damn.
I don't know. I don't think this king is. I think the I can't remember his name now, but Diana's son, he's a Cancer. And his wife is a
I know, and he doesn't like his wife, and he's pulling his dad right now. He doesn't want to be with her.
Capricorn wives are hard. I've had one.
Like every night before William goes to bed at whatever house he's living in or manor, his dad's calling like, "I'll get the Mercedes ready down by the bridge."
She's smart though. She's not like Diana, where she was like. I
actually have a prediction that King Charles has been screwing Kate.
Oh my God, that's pretty. Well, damn! Wow.
Like that's the way that family works. And
Capricorn, I'm not trying to be prejudiced, but Capricorn woman, the one would climb up that.
That she would be like, whatever, I don't care. I'm just here to get wherever I need to go.
Want to be on top, don't want to die. Well, I think something with her Cancer was weird. Like I don't know. Like I don't know. Some of their Cancer was weird.
It's the bad karma that his dad left with killing his mom, and then what do you think's going to happen with him?
I don't know.
He's going to repeat the pattern. I don't think he's seeing somebody to have good therapy about like, hey, you're going to repeat what your dad was like.
I don't think he will. I don't get that. I mean,
right. So that's what I'm saying is like his dad's just like every night, like, hey, I can get the fucking Mercedes. And then the whole thing with her and AI, right, for 2024.
Yeah.
When they said she had cancer and then they used body doubles and it wasn't her, that's like, we have control of you, girl. Right. Yeah. So we're using AI to put you out there, like, and then you're actually in the king's quarters.
Diana though she was a light worker. Diana, she was a light worker, and she
was, but I don't think Kate is.
No, I don't think Kate is, but I think Diane's son, who's going to be king, I do think he's a good man. I feel in his soul. I think he worries up at night. I think he cares. I really think he cares, like his mom. He's a Cancer. He cares. He's still trapped in the same Cancer relationship. I don't think he has, as this show is about bravery, I don't think he has the bravery to. You're right.
To actually shift things. I actually think that the crown's going to get into a place where British United Kingdom people are going to say we're over this. I think that we're going to see that in our lifetimes.
Cancers have Aries in the 10th, man. And I think we're going to see a change with Cancers. I know they have let things roll. And at the end of the day, if their man didn't like it, they rolled over and they took it. They always have. They still do. My mom still does.
He's going to open up the gates to the fucking palace and let everybody in and take it over and be like, well, okay, I'm sorry. I didn't know what to do.
I just bet, and break this tie here, Mr. Scott. Like, I think that Cancers are going to have this weird rocky turnaround.
Lost.
I think Cancers are going to have this weird rocky turnaround where they suddenly like had put it up for their whole lives, and they just think Cancer and be like, no fucking no, like it's gone. You have a Cancer running away, scoring you.
I don't know what the fuck y'all talking about. I got a little too stoned off my Cancer. Right?
Yeah, well, your mom's
the royal family and
your parents are cool.
Kingdom.
You come from a cool family too. You do. Your mom and dad are cool. How
do we get into that? I'm lost. I'm
not there. Parents, yeah. Let's just talk about Cancers and signs and parents.
Speaking of like past lives though, and I have to run, guys, because that's past my time. I have to run. I'm curious to know. Because you had a person that read you and I's past lives and our interaction with Lens. I'm curious to know if David fits in somehow. Three of us.
David, well, in my timeline, from what I understand, David doesn't show up until King Arthur, Great Britain time. And then him and I seem to hang out through Elizabethan times, from what I understand. And that's what I know so far. You and I like hung out in Atlantis, and you just not been around, buddy. What's been the fucking problem? Like, I have one other memory in Greece with you.
I get bored easily.
Yeah, no. I think you just go off and do your thing. You're eclectic. You have what you like. I mean, you don't always participate. You don't always participate in society. You're like, fuck it.
But I'm trying to understand, because I feel a past incarnation with David. I just don't know what. I'm trying to figure that out.
I know. I need to look at your chart and I'll figure it out.
You know what? And that woman who predicted says the same thing. She feels David and you two also have another life that you don't know about.
Yeah, I'm sure we do.
What was her name?
Bring her on sometime. Joyce. That's all I'm saying.
Joyce. Yeah, you should bring her on. She said some interesting stuff.
I know, you gotta send me your chart and I'll figure that one out.
Yeah.
No, sign the letter. No, actually, you should. It'd be interesting. We should maybe record that or something and just maybe have it as a podcast. We might reveal or we might not. And speaking of which, guys, we've been talking about some dangerous things today, and we don't know if we're going to be able to last like this. So starting next week, we're going to be behind a firewall, a pay firewall. I mean, if people want to watch this candid talk, it's not going to be out here on YouTube, especially as things go crazy. We got to stay behind the scenes. We're not going to lose what we're doing. We're not going to have our audience divided. We're going to be this smart and put on our own server. So we'll start on public media, but we're going behind doors because that's the way it's going to be. And I think a lot of societies have to do that right now. Close the door, lock out people who don't believe and agree, because honestly, we don't need their shit. We need to be able to talk honestly, right? Am I right? So we'll have the URL for that next week. What are you talking about,
the
man?
Backstage part of it, right? Like
the backstage. Backstage,
you do the show, and then when this backstage is behind the private wall.
There's some topics. I mean, I'm tired of losing my business because I say the truth.
For the after show, we should do like where maybe get some scotch, take a tote. Cool. We should do like a little show game thing like that, where
just relax, beer.
I don't do any of that anymore, but I could still hit my vape, my nicotine.
Yeah, you are smoking nicotine all the time.
Yeah, you're completely 100% sober.
Yeah, for
nicotine. Yeah. You didn't
2012, I quit weed, and then alcohol 2015. So
he's been
great. That's good. Yeah, I mean, I don't drink a lot. Like every now and then, I like a little bit of scotch, like once in a blue for like an occasion or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I still love my cannabis.
To fit the vibe in this.
I've been a pothead since I was 18.
Yeah.
One little dose.
Only when Techie knows me when I used to smoke weed and drink and all that.
I was the one encouraging him.
Or I was encouraging you.
Yeah.
I used to drive to his house when I lived in Sherman Oaks, and I'd be like, "Yo, I got the weed," and he'd be like, "Oh, I got the weed," or we lived together. It was like always like, "Who's got it?" Like it was just like.
I think it was illegal then too. I don't know if they had. It was
not. It was not. There was no shops yet.
There was nothing. Yeah. Now it's like you can have delivery on it. And so
you have a dealer.
No, but I remember. I'll never forget because I've told my audience. But Chris said it best when Neptune came in Pisces. Him and I were stoned, and he went. You know what this is going to be? It's going to feel like the sun is stoned the whole time of Neptune and Pisces.
That's true.
And it did.
It was. We were stoned.
And you said it the day that it came in while we were stoned and went, this is going to feel like we're stoned. The sun's stoned the whole time. And I'm like, that's a long time. What, 14 years, bro? Yeah.
Yeah.
And it did.
It did. And that time, actually, marijuana became legal, and and became a big cash crop.
But I'll never forget being super high, and then being like, this motherfucker has made me more stoned thinking of that.
Yeah, that's part of it.
I mean, actually, the combos I used to have with Chris, we'd be so high, and then we go so far that I'm like, I'm higher now than just I can't even, we would smoke so much that you can't even get high anymore, but the combo would get more higher.
I totally get that. Yep.
I was like, dude, like, what are we talking about? Like,
I was normalized. In the 70s, my parents passed a joint on the way to Disneyland. I watched them smoke pot my whole life. And they were stoned enough, we go back in the parking lot, get stoned again, go back in. Like that was Disneyland when I was a kid. Like I smelled it. I must have been high off.
Actually, all those Astro gossips we did in 2009 and 10, we would be high, and I would DJ and we would do the show. I'm like, I can't even. People don't know, but we were high for that.
Speaking of, I'm gonna go enjoy mine. So
have fun, and I'll look. You got to send me your chart and send me at least whatever stems you have, so I can make us a track.
Yeah, let's do a read and pray thing. That'd be cool if you don't mind. Like it'd be cool. Just people see us how we read and stuff. That'd be good.
Yeah, exactly. I'll text you so you can send me your email. I'll send give you a drop or text your Dropbox link with the stuff.
I'll put it in our back end,
Cool. Christopher, you have my full chart though, right?
I do. I have the full chart. I'll share with you, David.
I know, and I want to look at your human design too.
Yeah, human design is actually cool. I'd like to talk to you about what you think about human design. I've been diving into that. Yeah, and I will say that Jai Gobin and I are starting a show this Sunday, by the way, folks. That's at it starts really at 9:30 a.m. Pacific, which would be 12:30. It's a pre-show, and then at 10 o'clock Pacific, and then 1 o'clock Eastern. We're gonna do like a show of just spirituality. We're just gonna talk spirit. We're gonna have some kind of prayer and some music. Jai is an amazing musician. I mean, oh my God, I've never seen someone just open. I had no idea she could sing like that. She's just got this whole spiritual part of her that's probably from India in the past life. She's a Gemini. We get along really well, and we just feel like Sundays people need a vibe, so it's kind of like our version of the modern agape, if you will. We want to be on there
I
every
was
week.
just
And you
gonna
guys
say that. That's so crazy.
Thank you. Come and be on the show. You actually, we want to invite Scott to perform musically because you never get invited to perform musically. So Scott, come be a musician.
Thank you. Yes, absolute. And then David could DJ.
Yeah, I can.
Whatever you want. David fits in.
Unless,
like,
unless David and I collab on something, that'd be kind of cool. You know,
Well, that's what I'm saying. Stem me those stems, and then we'll start from there, and then we'll really start making new shit, and then I can make you some beats and some tracks.
Why we both sitting like this right now?
I think artist collabs is the most exciting thing ever. That's why I want to get a film. I want to collab with people. There's something more fun to me than like building Legos.
I know.
I agree.
The most exciting thing. Yeah.
Well, and honestly, I think that's what sucked about Neptune and Pisces is it did kind of like create this like very like kind of everybody going in their own place.
Yeah.
And honestly, thank God it's out because we were doing that.
Yes.
And then Neptune Pisces came, and then it kind of by 2012 when it came back in, it just like that collab energy kind of felt like it dissipated.
Everyone just went on the couch and macrame themselves there. You know, it was like,
yeah. But before that, that's what it used to be like. So I'm stoked that it's back to that.
I love you all.
Y'all.
Peace, Scott.
Bye.
I love y'all. Morgan, thank you.
Have a great week, y'all. We'll see you in 1 week. Be good. Stay in your heart.
Peace.
Oh, bye.
In the song, boom.
Yeah. I just want to give props to the 332 people who hung out until the end of the show.
Cool.
And for all the people participating in the chat. It's so quite fun to watch your chat.
Thank you.
Messages.
It is.
We'll
talk about that. The chat was hopping, guys, and like we need to like put some moderators in there, do some contests, like just add some fun stuff in there.
We've got some good group mind going on here.
Hive mind.
That's good stuff. Guys are cool.
All right, guys.
Good night, guys.
Brothers. I love you. Next week, guys.
Thanks, Morgan. Thanks, Morgan, again for.
Take care, you guys. You got it.
You too.
Bye.
Be well.